You fools! You have fallen into my trap, and now you are forever lost to the VCR Podcast. And now, here are your masters. Use the shawls.
Damn it! She's in another castle, isn't she?
Jin and Chris.
All the Nintendogs are on fire.
CS Radical.
I was promised cat boys.
Now, let the show begin.
I hate you. I tried to do an intro and you fucking ruined it off the very beginning. Hey guys, Adam aka CS Radical here. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself in the moment the title is spoken. I am so fucking glad we don't do audio anymore.
Yeah, this is true. It does make it a lot easier.
Hey all.
So, asshole McGee, Views Vishal is here with us. Jen and Chris is here as well. He's cool at least. At least there's one cool guy on the show.
That's what I'm talking about. Being the cool guy.
I literally said during the intro, hey, I'm about to bring us in, and he's just like, name your set. I'm like, fuck you. God damn it. Episode 69 was 5 weeks ago. Why are you still doing it?
Why not? Every episode.
Oh, wait, 4 weeks. Sorry, I'm bad at counting. Math is hard.
Yeah, to quote a great man, I am inevitable.
You mean a dead man?
Yeah, he's dead.
Is he though? Is he?
Well, I guess it's Marvel we're talking about, so there can always be a million different hand waves they can do to make people just suddenly be back again.
True.
So who knows? It's always possible. I'm not going to hold out for it, but it's always possible.
Name your sex tape?
Oh, Jesus. The thing is that's
server
actually
mute.
Pretty good, right?
He's gone. Goodbye. I do the best that I can. So yeah, we got a big show at 40, and by that we mean we're gonna gush basically about two things for most of the entire show, and gush about it so much that we have to split it in half. So all three of us watched.
Both of us.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, technically one of these guys are dead to me, so I don't care. So whatever, but
that's a good point.
So we both, I did it again. All three of us douchebags, especially this guy who can't fucking get his words straight. We watched the Mortal Kombat film and we finished the entire season 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And because of that, we're going to talk about it twice. At the beginning of the show, we're going to do a non-spoiler version of it. And then once we've done all of that, including any other tangents that we decide to do in the next hour or so, then we'll boot up spoiler alert on the screen and it'll be spoilers for the rest of the time out. So if you guys haven't seen the movie or the TV series, you will know long in advance. Get the hell out of Dodge before you hear everything. So, warnings in advance.
Cool spoiler little thing here.
Hey, I'll even show you the graphic. Hang on. Let me pull an example feed up. Oh, perfect. I got the Mortal Kombat graphic up right here. Oh, if we just end up getting into spoiler territory, boom!
That's awesome. That's it. That's the show, everybody. That was it. That was the big reveal.
Also, I apologize, Vish. I thought I clicked the server mute button to turn it off. Now I actually did. Now you're back on, and I fucked up the stream. Oh god, everything's broken. Stop. Okay, we're good. See, this is what happens when you talk too much. I fuck up everything. Okay. But anyways.
I love how all of this is still better than last week.
Are we starting with Mortal Kombat first or with Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I want to address the point first that Chris just brought up, that this is already better than our last show. So if you're watching this on YouTube, assuming I end up posting this on YouTube, we didn't post last week's episode because it was fucking horrible. And I don't mean because of, what we said. That's normal. That's every episode.
That's every episode.
Tech issues all over the place. Discord was not nice last week.
No,
it was laggy as shit. And I'm pretty sure that we went back to dial-up because, VCR Podcast, apparently we went back in time out of our, without our own consent, but apparently we did. We went back to 1999 or something.
Welcome to the Dial-Up Podcast, where if you play it, it'll be ready in about 6 hours.
6 hours? That's generous.
We're the VCR Podcast. The fact we'd even have dial-up is just, futuristic to us.
That is true. This is Back to the Future Part 2. Where we're going to have, giant pieces of paper.
Discs now?
Giant pieces of paper come out of the TV to say that I'm fired,
What are we starting with? Falcon or Mortal Kombat?
Well, I think with the way that I feel about both, I probably want to finish with Mortal Kombat because there's a lot more for me to dig into. Because here's my thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I guess I better prepare it by putting.
It seems like you weren't that like hyped up about it.
So I'm going to say the most simple thing that I can about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was a show.
It was a show. That is a good point.
Honestly, it was probably the most average thing that Marvel's ever put out. Like, it wasn't bad, wasn't good. It was just, it was there. Like, I didn't end up leaving the show being like, man, this was amazing. But I didn't leave it being like, this was a Thor the Dark World waste of my fucking time. So I guess that's not bad. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there was some cool stuff in there, which we will try to avoid for
I get what
spoilers.
you're saying. Like, I felt like it was kind of like a Game of Thrones thing, where it started off so good, and midway through, it's like, oh my god, this is epic. And then by the end, it's like, oh wow, you kind of gave up there.
No, I'm actually going to tell you straight up, there is no point in this series that I could tell you that I was like on pins and needles, like I was with WandaVision guessing. There is no point in this entire 6 episodes that I went, oh man, this is getting real crazy.
Well, with WandaVision, it was kind of like, okay. It's been about 2 or 3 months since WandaVision.
We also already technically spoiled it on the show a little bit, but I mean, I'll put up the spoiler just in case.
With WandaVision, it was kind of like you didn't know what to expect because everyone universally said you can't categorize WandaVision at all. Like, you don't know how to categorize it as a comedy, as a mystery show, as an action show, as a
I would say you
show.
Categorize it as a mystery show more than anything else. It just happens to turn into an action movie in the last episode, really.
Mystery with a bit of action.
With WandaVision, you didn't really know what to expect. With Falcon and Winter Soldier, you kind of knew what the end game was going to be. No pun intended.
Well, I mean, we also did go... I'm going to take the warning down because I don't think we need to worry about it. But with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I looked at it similar to like what the Cap movies were, specifically Cap and the Winter Soldier, or even Cap Civil War kind of fell into this category too. I was expecting a lot more like intense, like action, like trying to figure out who's going to turn on who. And in reality, like it's probably more going to be... The show's going to be more remembered for like what it's going to do for race issues in the world than it will be for anything else, because it does a fantastic job at addressing it.
We'll talk about that a little later because...
Oh, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Falcon clearly was going to becoming Cap because it was literally him given the shield in Endgame.
No, I get that. No.
But if you're talking the intricacies, we won't go too crazy into it.
Yeah, I won't go with that yet. I'll go into later parts of that.
I will say, though, that's probably what stood out in the show, is that they did a fantastic job addressing what, honestly, the reality of the situation is, where you're getting a black Captain America, which obviously is still going to be a sore point for some people, and we don't care about their feelings.
Well, dude, I've already looked on... So, alert, there's an image floating on Marvel right now that pretty much spoils the finale of the show. And I'm sure before giving any spoilers yet, we can all know which picture that is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I don't know, maybe I just hate myself, but I decided to click on the comments of it on Facebook.
So yeah, that you knew what you were walking into.
Oh boy, it's hilarious. Almost, it's hilarious and heartbreaking. How fucking stupid some people are
on the internet. Get out of here. I mean, there's literally 3 of us on the show right now.
Yes, this is true.
So off topic, there's this thing about Michael B. Jordan being Superman, but the thing is, he's not Clark Kent, and that's what a lot of people aren't understanding.
Wait, Michael B. Jordan's Superman?
Yeah, so there was
rumors,
because they're rebooting.
Oh,
Superman.
Rumor. Okay, because I was like, I haven't
it's
seen
a rumor
any of
right
this.
now.
Yeah,
but
I think
he's not going to be Clark Kent.
Which is perfect, because I've always said before, if you want to put diversity into characters that are already established, just make another person to take the helm. It's not difficult.
So
yeah, for sure.
For me, I personally don't fully agree with it. It's
him getting the role.
Yeah, because I just feel like, I don't know. Besides Clark Kent, I don't know who else is Superman. It's like like I know they did Terry McGinnis for Batman Beyond, but for me, Batman is always going to be Bruce Wayne. Superman's always going to be Clark Kent, and I understand they're doing another incarnation of it.
I mean, there was never a female Superman until they brought in Supergirl, so I mean, you're always going to try new things, right?
I mean, there's fucking Superdog. There in the comics, there was a dog, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's Crypto, and he's Crypto is like I'm not joking. It was this close between Bowser and Crypto for my dog. It was literally this close when I first got him.
But if we're talking and we are going a little bit off topic here, but it's just to cap it off. Like, look, I have no problem with any superhero having another person take the helm. My problem is always replacing the race of a pre-established person. Because if if Peter Parker changes his color, that's not the same as Spider-Man changing his color.
Yeah, like Miles Morales is a perfect example of how to do it correctly.
So for me, 100%. If it's an established iconic character,
well then Spider-Man.
Don't change it.
So Spider-Man.
Yeah, do not change Peter Parker.
No. I'm not talking. I'm talking just the superhero, not the person behind the mask. That's what I mean. Like, I'm okay with Peter Parker, Miles Morales both being Spider-Man. The same would go with a Superman character that isn't Clark Kent. I'm fine with whoever taking the name. It's just do not change Clark Kent. Do not change Peter Parker.
Yeah,
that's my views on it.
Okay.
Yeah, my view is
the icons. Don't change them. It's not necessary. It's because I think now
just be clear. You do mean the character, because when you say icons, like, it isn't just blankingly referring to Batman, Superman, right?
The established ones.
So then I keep going back then. So Spider-Man should never have been given a second identity, because that's an icon. It's just what's the line? Like, the bar seems like it's so specific.
The iconic character behind the.
Okay, that's what I was asking you. I'm asking the person, not the name of the superhero, just the person behind it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
completely agree.
If Michael B. Jordan became Superman but not Clark Kent, it's fine. My concern is as well, because Superman is so established. By the way, everyone, happy National Superhero Day.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Superman is so established, so iconic, that I think the general audience is going to have a lot of issues with a different identity. But yeah, I get that. Fuck them.
Sorry, fuck them. I don't care.
Yeah,
because you know what? It's also like we were talking with our friend on Discord, and we were discussing the whole issue of diversity, where Marvel is honestly paving the way and leading a force that has never been done before. And in such
to this level, yeah, 100%.
To this level, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, yeah, Star Trek probably makes a claim to that.
Yeah, Star Trek's been doing it for so long.
Star Trek is on a new next level. Star Trek was the OGs. Yeah,
like Marvel has taken the reins in the modern day to do it now. So
yeah. No, but by all means, like I respect like we've all seen the Star Trek movies. We love them now. I never was into Star Trek growing up, but I'm going off topic. But with Marvel, what they're doing with cultural and racial diversity, and with gender diversity, like, DC does not have the balls to do that, and it hurts me a lot. Like, I was looking just for shits and giggles of colored DC characters. There's not that many. There really is not.
Yeah, they seem to love their audience. That's basically just a bunch of bitter teenagers that have now grown up that just want Batman, and that's all they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I looked at Marvel, despite not a lot of them being shown prominently, there's actually quite a few. There's Luke Cage, there's Blade, there's Falcon.
Granted, they've also made a bunch of really bad ideas too, so it goes both ways. They've tried. That I give them props for putting in the effort to at least make the attempt to do so.
Yeah. No, they are actually doing it, and they're not giving a fuck. They're like, if you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, and most of the times that people get mad about it, it's not the mainstays. It's new ideas most of the time, and people are just like, "Well, I don't like it." I'm like, "Good, don't buy the fucking comic then. It's not going to kill you."
Well, one of my favorite things is a few people I used to work with, really entitled people, and they're like, "Okay, I don't get why they're having a character called Black Panther. What would they have? Is someone called Clan Boy or something?" It's like, but these fucking
they
idiots
probably
don't
used
realize,
to. We just don't know about them.
No. Black Panther was introduced before the Black Panthers. So do your fucking research before you start
They
boasting
thought
about
it was connected to
shit
like
like
the
that.
Black Panthers, like the movement. Oh, what? No.
Yeah, Vish,
Ugh.
you're assuming that a bunch of dumb fucks are actually, doing research. I mean, have you seen Twitter in the last 5 seconds? Research is not a strong suit of the
I
internet.
stopped watching the news. It's getting that bad, and that's just mainly for personal reasons.
Well,
but
it's just in general, like so much of the internet that we see is because, I mean, I'm going to finally put us back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I want to talk about one thing that's really been bugging the crap out of me. And this isn't a spoiler. Or, I mean, I guess it is a spoiler, but I'm going to be vague about it. So there is one specific thing. And like I said earlier, the idea of making your way towards a black Captain America with Sam, aka Falcon, whatever you want to go with here. No one's writing about
Captain
it, at least
Falcon.
that I've seen. No one's really talking about this. What they're talking about is another character in the show because he's supposed to be good, then he goes bad, but then he goes good again, and then people are flipping out about it.
Okay.
I'm not going to
You know
talk
what the
further
funny
about it
thing
because
is?
I get into spoiler territory, but I have seen, and just from browsing Reddit and Twitter, like just casually, like not intentionally searching anything, I have found 7 different instances of them bitching about this character, and I haven't found a single fucking article written by anybody talking about how amazing it is to see Captain America being played by a black man.
You know what it is? I'll talk. I wouldn't go so far as to that. I think what it was with this situation, that's what people wanted. Because the other character,
What do you mean? What do people want? Just to clarify.
Sam, to become Cap.
Yeah.
So I think when it happened, everyone's like, finally! Like, because with Endgame being a few years ago, 2 years ago this week, fuck you, coronavirus. With Endgame being 2 years ago.
I'm not going to say mean things to coronavirus. I don't want it to get any ideas to go after me, okay? Look, I'm just saying.
I know. So what I'm looking at is like at the end of Endgame, everyone's a 2-year-old movie. There's no such thing as spoilers anymore. When Steve gave the shield to Cap, it's like, you're Cap now. You're Captain America now.
And we all accept.
So-
most of us accepted
Yeah.
this.
No.
So I think it was expected that Sam was going to take the mantle of Captain America.
But again, like
we'll
it's
discuss
what he
more in the spoiler
says.
part.
Yeah, what he says at the end, I thought there's your thing to talk about. There's your thing to laud about. Every article that gets written under the sun complains that there isn't that representation in the major mainstays. There isn't that big moment. And it happens, crickets. Because you know why, and I was going to wait and to see what you guys said about it. It's pretty simple why they do it. Because negativity makes a far much more money than saying things positive.
That's what I was going to say.
It's all clickbait.
I honestly, Adam, I think is the situation is like, I don't think it was the whole thing about people being crickets. I think it was like, okay, this is what we wanted. This is what should have
No,
happened
man,
in the
like
first place.
my expectation as a human being is that when I see 10,000 different people complain about something, that they would be cheering when it finally happens. Except no one is because they're too fixated on the one thing that I'll get into when we get into spoilers. But it's just
And this
to
is one thing I want
non-spoiler.
to talk about Mortal Kombat with as well.
Yeah. And I mean, like, look, I don't waste a lot of my breath on it. It more pisses me off because it keeps us from making the progress that we want to make faster. Because when people fixate on something so unimportant, which again, we'll get into in the spoiler section of this when we review this show, it's so trivial. And in fact, I think they're making stuff up to kind of suit what they want to say. So it's frustrating.
I would not. Disney has all the resources in the world to do that. So I would not be surprised if that's legit.
Yeah. So it comes down to like obviously enjoy the fucking thing, and if there's something that makes you angry about it, yeah, write about it. But when I see so many people fixate on the tiniest thing, and we have this massive moment right after it, they just won't let that one thing get past them.
I just had a thought as well just now. I think the whole situation was with the other character that they made him so unlikable.
They did a fantastic job of making him so unlikable.
Yeah, that when it was the person that they wanted, they're like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with this because the other guy's a fucktard.
Yeah, so we'll get into that after.
But I have a few opinions on that as well.
Yeah, so we'll obviously do that when we get there. But otherwise, like, look, I actually, like, when I watched the show with my girlfriend, we watched all 6 episodes right in a row. I was, like, sitting there being like, all right, this is fine, this is cool. But there was never that, like, moment that I went, man, I'm going to remember that one. Unlike WandaVision, where it's like, you remember the creepiness of, like, the first episode, or you remember, like, the reveal of, like, of Agatha and all that. So, like, there's so many little things that I can pick out of that show. Whereas with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I felt like I was basically watching, like, the random, like, filler parts of a Cap movie, and it was just 6 episodes of the filler.
I get what you're saying, because with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was more of a streamlined action show. With WandaVision, it was a mystery fantasy show, and you had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Well, even then, like, I've watched Captain America movies, like, they've been really enthralling. It didn't happen for me here. It was just like, I'm watching a show, the story's fine. Like, nothing was offensively bad. It was just more like nothing's, like, really getting me to clutch in, like, you know? Chris, you've been quiet for a bunch. What do you think?
Action show. It was more of an action show than it was like a
but that doesn't take away from me being interested. Like, we've watched a million action movies with Marvel, and I've been really super into a lot of them. It's just this one didn't seem to do that. So, Chris.
I actually... Vishal, you said, like, right near the beginning, it's kind of, you're like, maybe it suffered from the Game of Thrones thing. I kind of felt that way too, but I don't know if it's that the writers really wrote it in or anything, or didn't put effort near the end. Like, Game of Thrones had a whole...
We also don't know if COVID might have changed stuff too, right? Like, there's always that possibility.
It 100% could be. I think this show would have benefited greatly if they just made it another episode or two. They wouldn't have just
I agree.
Here's the end.
Think it ended too abruptly.
It did seem weird that it had only 6 episodes after WandaVision had 9.
Yeah. It's just like,
but then
shows used to be like fucking 24 episodes a season or something, and now it's like we're slowly getting down to just it's a movie.
The thing is that after it was done, they said Captain America 4 in development.
Well, that's fine.
This was almost like a prelude.
It almost seemed like, you know, like a pilot for Captain America 4 almost in a way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is 100%. Like, it felt like filler. Like, I liked the middle of the show and the beginning. Like, I did like what they were building, but I also kind of agree with Adam where there was a couple moments. I won't say it was the whole thing.
Like, there was a few moments where I was like, holy fuck, this villain
is
in the show is really relatable and really, like, really interesting. I'm not talking the douchebag. I'm talking like, without like going in depth on her. And like, she was fantastic.
I agreed 110% with her motives.
Yeah, and I'm trying so hard to not say anything because I'm like, this could be kind of spoilerish.
Yeah. It's just a lot of it did feel like almost like a prequel or like a prelude to what's about to come. Like,
almost like, you know, when
here's a little bit of filler just to tide you over until the actual story.
Yeah, it's almost like when you're sitting at the fireplace and he tells you, "Let me tell you, like, how this all came to be."
Yeah,
it's almost like, you know, it should have been the start of Captain America 4 with, like, Sam just, you know, flying around about to throw a shield where there's like 10,000 guys around him, and then it freezes to be like, "Hey guys, you're probably wondering how I got into this situation."
No, it's that episode of Simpsons where Grandpa is talking to him about the lemon tree in Shelbyville.
Oh yeah.
That was a great episode.
Yeah,
I can't do the voice. I can't get my throat that high to do his voice.
Yeah, you can. There was also, I can't lie, like, and again, I'll avoid spoilers here, but talking about how it was, even the show, just what it was doing for like race issues and stuff, especially in the United States, where obviously this show is based and everything. I was actually a little worried about it at first, not because they had it in the show. I felt like the first few episodes, they hadn't decided whether they were really going into it or not.
Yeah, it almost felt like
Did
they
anybody else
were
get
getting
that?
ready to kind of like pull back because they're
Yeah.
it's waters they still have to tread. Like it is a pretty sensitive subject, so you got to be really careful on saying the wrong
they
thing.
were like,
the part
bringing up
that
something.
really, I'll say that really like, you know what? No,
I was gonna say,
Yeah, that
Careful.
sounds like a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just meant they were bringing up stuff and it felt like they just didn't follow through with it at first. It was like, here's an issue. Just kidding. Look over here. And it was like, wait, what? Wait, I thought
There
we
is
were
a
just
lot
kind
of
focused on
racial and real life social issues that were brought up in that show, and you're sitting there being like, "Ooh, you better make good on this because this could really rub some people the wrong way."
Especially when the cops were like, "Oh, you're Falcon. You're a."
Yeah, that's pretty early in the show,
so-
and it's also not much for saying like Sam gets pulled over by the cops for yelling at Bucky when so it's basically somebody being like, "Oh, this black guy's yelling at a white guy." Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And
like
it is that
felt
moment of
they
like,
just turned,
holy
and
shit.
It was like no one.
You're
it was
Sam.
like
You're
everybody
Sam.
dropped it.
You're the Falcon. You're an Avenger. Sorry. Have a good day.
Yeah.
And
But then they just
this
went
is
on
just-
and moved on from the point. And I was like, wait, what? Is nobody mad at this? Like, are we gonna not talk about this? Like, I felt like they're bringing it up, but by the end of the show, I was like,
It
okay,
felt
never
like
mind.
they were
justice.
definitely like leaving stuff in there to kind of keep it aware, and then when it finally came to the character that really brings it up, then you're like, okay, no, we're definitely going there.
Yeah, and then I was glad when they finally did. I was like, okay, they actually followed through with it, because don't bring that up and build to it if you're not gonna do it justice, right? So,
okay, so all the issues aside, just to talk about the show's quality, like again, everything was like any of the action scenes were fucking awesome. Like I said, the different villains that they had throughout, all of them did a very good job of what they did. The ending was perfectly fine. Like again, like I didn't end up being like, yeah, it was just more like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That worked really well. So like, I think at its core, like it is a perfectly solid like thing, but it doesn't stand out. I think more of us are going to remember the show for what it did societally than it will in terms of what was actually in the movie in terms of like action scenes. Like I'm going to remember Cap Winter Soldier because of the fucking story, how intense it got. Whereas this one, I'm going to remember it because of what it's going to do for diversity and inclusion over the course of the next like 5 to 10 years.
I would honestly give this show a 7 out of 10, except one episode gets 8.5 for me, and it's because of just 15 minutes, and it's not what you guys are even thinking.
I think I know which episode you're talking about.
It's probably not. You probably have an idea, but it's I'm
like
definitely
there are
going slightly different.
there are two scenes for me in the entire series that will stand out. One of them for very good reasons, obviously, and then one of them for oh god kind of reasons. So
yeah. I think
I agree though with Chris though that I put it around a 7. Like it's perfectly good. Like it's just fine. It doesn't do anything offensively bad. It doesn't stand out in the same thing like other movies.
7.5. For me, it's a 7.5. Only because of the way it ended. Like it was running like 8.5 to 9 the entire time, but the way it ended, it just was so melodramatic.
Really? Because I thought the ending was the best part about the show.
Huh.
It's funny because I like both of the parts you guys are talking about, and they're still not my favorite part of the whole show.
Well, I guess that'll be fun when we get into the spoiler stuff.
Yeah, when we get to spoilers, I think we'll all have 3 different areas to talk about.
And here I was thinking that we were going to have like we could find time for different topics. We're already at 9:30, and we've only talked about non-spoilers for Cap or Falcon and Winter Soldier. This could be an interesting day. So I'm not even going to waste time and flick over to us to the next screen because there was another thing
Finish
to watch.
him.
All right. Non-spoiler for Mortal Kombat. I am going to say the most simple thing that I can, like I did with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But this one is a lot more
Mortal
heated.
Kombat movie.
No. I have never had so much fun and yet have been so angry at the same time.
Huh?
Angry because of characters or because
the decisions that are made specifically in the second half of the film are some of the dumbest things I have ever seen. If you like the lore of Mortal Kombat, it is an insult for some of the things that happen, which I'm going to try really hard not to spoil in this section.
Yeah, it's going to be hard in this one because I have complaints and I have things I love.
I was discussing with somebody that this movie
I was about to say, I'm discussing with somebody. I'm like, I would hope so. If you were discussing this with yourself, we may have to get a therapist in here.
Oh, that's long gone.
Yeah, we should have done this a long time ago. That should have been like episode 0.
So one thing I will say with this movie is that, oh god, so we're one episode behind. So episode 70 was episode 69 then?
What?
You're saying episode 0.
Yeah, I meant we should have had a therapist in here before we even started.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I felt like when I watched this movie, I realized that it was designed for the theater experience just because some of the stuff that happened in it.
Oh, seeing that on a big screen would have been amazing. Some of those fight scenes on a massive screen would have been amazing.
There's one line that we're going to say in the spoiler version that if we heard that line in the theaters, everyone would have applauded and cheered, like when Cap picked up Mjolnir.
I don't think it's that crazy to be, get over here.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler line. That's literally Scorpion's thing.
That's in the
trailer.
trailer.
No, but I'm just saying, if we...
Also, we've seen it in the trailer, so it's already there.
Okay. So, Adam, if that was like, if we were in the theater and then you hear Scorpion be like, get over here.
Oh, we would have all cheered. We would have been like, yes!
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere of the theater, because is like going back to Endgame, like that movie is going to be my favorite theater experience forever unless something somehow tops that, because the atmosphere in that room was so intense. Like you could feel people 20 rows behind you like clenching like that. It was so cool.
Dude, like when we watched it, like there's 3 parts that everyone blew up. Cap holding Mjolnir, the portal scene, and then Avengers Assemble. Oh, actually 4.
I was going to say Iron Man as well.
Snapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that's very close to each other in the movie.
The theater. That's
the last like 20 minutes is just like literally everybody in the theater orgasmed like at least 69 different times. Look.
Nice.
You are not wrong.
No.
But I'm just saying, it's like
he's out of line, but he's not wrong.
Exactly.
Hey, no spoilers.
So the whole thing is that
it's not even the same thing.
This movie I felt was designed for the theater experience because there were so many subtle references and not so subtle references to the game that everyone would have blown up.
Oh, I would have been laughing so hard in the first half for all the random shit they did. Oh, it was so good.
Oh my god.
I've got one favorite.
Because speaking of good things, I don't have to spoil anything, but wasn't Kano the fucking best thing in that movie?
He was so spot on.
Kano was the Deadpool of that movie, and it was amazing.
He reminded me of that YouTube channel, Aussie Man Reviews. Or
oh yeah.
Holy fuck! It was just him.
The only thing that was now I need the guy playing Kano to sit there and redo the clip of the Australian speed skater winning gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like, that cheeky cunt just waiting for everybody else to fuck it all up and then cross the line. That's what I need now.
Yeah.
Like when I watched it, I was like, honestly, this was in a theater. It really, I honestly think it would have made it at least like 400 million domestically.
Oh, it would have made a lot of money because people would have been talking pretty highly about it because it is a very fun movie, despite all the critical things that I'll have to say about it in the spoiler section.
Oh, dude, like by all means, the script is terrible.
There is so much wrong with that movie, but like
the script is terrible.
It's still
some of the writing choices, like some of the story choices.
We don't have to spoil anything here, but Cole Young did not need to be in this movie.
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
Why?
It was clearly Hollywood putting their touch in.
Yeah.
But what he is, though, I think it'll pay off in sequels.
I don't believe that because what they gave him as his powers is the most lame thing. Stryker is more interesting than what Cole pulls off.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just Cole should have just put on a mocap suit and just gone to town.
Yeah. God. Anything else?
We do not speak of his name.
I will speak of mocap as many times as I want now that Cole Young exists on this planet.
We do not speak of his name. You're out of line, but you're right.
Fucking right, I am.
They wanted to give a character like they're trying to make somebody relatable. Like this could be you. You're just outside, and all of a sudden, Mortal Kombat's now your life.
I'd rather be fucking Kano.
No, legitimately, it was just Hollywood being like they want to get their hands on everything, right? They got to think they can make it better.
Yeah, they made it worse. Like that part.
But all my
Everything's
complaints, I will definitely talk about as we go. And I'm not even going to spoil some of the people they bring in as some of the side villains, because I was surprised with some of the choices they made. Pleasantly surprised with one of them because he was fantastic.
Or
No, like one of the ones that are on Shang Tsung's side that we don't know about right away.
So we should save for the spoiler part,
Yeah.
I guess?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's one guy specifically that I'm like, oh, I didn't know how much I like this character until now. But no,
I love that character even in the game. Like that character.
I didn't mind him, but I just liked him more after the movie. I'm just like, okay, this character's like double awesome now. By the way, small thing. One of the guys, like, there was a point where the general, I won't name him, but the general, I thought he was a wrestler, and I guessed which wrestler it was, and I was wrong, but was pleasantly surprised to find out it was just a different wrestler.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, this looks like this guy from WWE. It looks like one guy from the Ascension, and then it'll go look at it. No, it's Nathan Jones, like Australian fucking wrestler who was so unsafe that Undertaker and Big Show, two of the safest workers in WWE at that time, didn't even want to fucking work with him. Because he would accidentally hurt people because he would just fucking drop them.
Oof.
But so it was okay. He just got his ass handed to him over and over again in the fucking movie, and it was fine. All debts were paid. But to take away my complaints, because there's a whole lot I could do with. The action in the movie is fucking fantastic. Like, anytime there's a fight going on, I loved it. The CG effects, the sets, all the atmosphere, all that is great. All of that is fun. My only problem with the movie is the writing. That is literally the only complaint I have about the movie.
Same.
The music's solid.
I mean, that's a huge thing
the
to
CG
say.
is awesome.
God,
Sorry. There were two specific characters that I think need to be recasted. There are two characters I would like to have recasted, but and Cole I would want eliminated. So Raiden and Shang Tsung I think need to be changed.
Shang Tsung I was okay with. Raiden I get.
And I'm trying really hard not to be, nostalgic with the original Shang Tsung, but I don't think he even did a good enough job, or maybe they just didn't give him enough like good material. Raiden, on the other hand, was absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit.
Adam, I'm sorry, but you're upset about dialogue in a script in a Mortal Kombat movie.
No, but like we had Kano exist and he was fine. Yeah. Like, I'll even say this, Cole's acting job is perfectly fine. He's actually really good. It's what he represents that I don't like. But like everybody else, like Sonya's fine, Liu Kang was fine, Kung Lao was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was spot on with
Scorpion is the highlight. They got a boss of a Japanese like legendary actor to play Scorpion and man, they better use him better because they don't know what they have in this guy. Oh my god.
Well, I'll talk about that in the spoiler part.
Yeah.
Jax was fine, even some of the other characters, like in the little that you see them, like Melina, I thought would look perfect. They definitely did a good job towards like when you finally see her mouth open up and how gruesome that looked.
Yeah,
like that was
a great
cool.
job with her.
You mean they made Melina hot? Wait, what? When has Melina not been hot?
Yeah,
fair enough.
I'm not even out of line on that one. I'm just right.
Yeah, a lot of the casting choices were spot on, but yeah, Shang Tsung and Raiden, it's just like. They're supposed to be the two heads of the opposing side.
Like any of the ones that are bad otherwise, they're not important enough to make a huge difference right now. Like, now there's some interesting like things about Johnny Cage, like what it could be. Because I mean, look, I know that some people are going to say it's a spoiler. Johnny Cage was going to be in a Mortal Kombat movie. It's not a spoiler. They teased it at the end. That's not a spoiler because we all knew it was going to happen. You would not make another Mortal Kombat movie and put Johnny Cage not in it twice. It's just this time you might make it more than 5 minutes on like Annihilation.
Yeah, and the thing is, why didn't they take most of the Cole story and just?
They could have just put Johnny Cage in that role and said like, "Hey, he's a retired MMA like star turned actor."
Or he was acting and now
he's doing
MMA because his acting career.
You're onto something. They could have literally just replaced Cole with Johnny, and it probably would have been just fine.
I honestly thought it was gonna.
That really would have been the best thing to do. Yeah. Cole was just not necessary.
No.
Unless they turn him into who he's supposed to be, he's not necessary.
It would make sense now, which we'll get into in spoilers, but...
Yeah.
But like going back to the Johnny Cage thing, there have been a couple of ideas floated around. There's one that makes a lot of sense, like just...
Ryan Reynolds playing Johnny Cage.
Okay, no, that's the best option. Again, going back to wrestling, people have brought up The Miz, who legitimately... his character is a D-list actor that thinks he's top shit. It's literally been his role for 15 years.
Can you put him on the
I will do that in a sec. Let me actually turn us back to the main screen so you don't see me Google searching this forever. Like facially, they can mess around with the makeup to make it look a little bit better, but like in terms of like his character, it literally is his gimmick. Like his literal gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
His literal gimmick.
That is Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he's a movie star who thinks he's amazing and just, is like the only thing that he can't do is do the splits as far as I know. So that might be an issue. But he legitimately, like, for 10 to 15 years has been Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he took the idea from Mortal Kombat.
It's the whole thing with I as a character in the game, I like Johnny Cage. He's actually quite easy and user friendly to use. But this guy, like, if it's a split thing, you get a stunt double from behind and then have him like obscure from the waist
you could make it work.
In
2021, you could make it work.
Yeah.
But like, there is that part of me that's like, man, I don't think Ryan Reynolds like facially would work, but I don't care. It's Ryan Reynolds. I'll accept it.
Another one they're saying is James Marsden, aka Cyclops.
He would fit.
My brain went John Marston. I'm like, what the fuck?
No, James Marsden. I mean, he'll be busy making Sonic 2, but
yeah,
priorities.
Yeah, priorities.
Exactly.
I mean, Sonic is a very successful franchise. That is a good priority.
He's got to just do every video game movie.
I mean, why wouldn't you if you know the kind of money that you make from these things now?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah,
no,
the Mortal Kombat.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Like, just to cap off what I said. Like, everything about the movie, if I'm not talking about how it's written, is fucking amazing. Like, I was loving the first half of the movie before all the second half stuff came in, because they really rushed the second half too, which is my biggest complaint.
I did notice that.
You said earlier, Chris, about them wanting maybe they should have like done an episode 2 or 2 more of Falcon and Winter Soldier. This movie needed another 30 minutes without question.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would have been offended by this movie being 2 hours based on how much fun it had been so far.
Yeah, for sure. Because I have the same complaint. Like, I felt like it started really strong. I actually really liked the last like 10, 15 minutes.
There's a scene where Sub-Zero comes in and like starts wrecking shit in the real world, and that's a fucking cool moment.
Yeah.
Like there's some cool stuff that happens.
Build up and then there's just like that middle second half part. And you're like, why is this happening? Or
as
why
soon as all the battles
decision?
Start, it just suddenly goes, what? Hey, whoa, slow the fuck down. And then it's just over. You're like,
yeah,
guys, you had time. It's 2021. We're in a pandemic. No one would have been mad if Mortal Kombat was a 3-hour movie, let alone 2. We would have been like, I am so down for 3 hours of gore-tastic comedy. I'm so down.
Or they did the Kill Bill thing, made it one ginormous movie, but split in 2 parts.
I wouldn't have complained one bit.
Exactly.
If they just said, hey, here's the first half, we'll put the other half up in 6 months, I'd be like, I'm down. Cool, let's do it.
Yes, please.
I don't know which actor it is from the movie. I don't know which character it is from the movie. Sorry, which actor? But I know that they came out and announced they'd actually signed a 4 or 5.
They want to make a universe out of it. Which, don't get me wrong, sounds amazing. It's just I hope this makes
no sense.
What?
Because it's one game.
No. Well, no. There's so many people. There's so many characters
we're
they
playing
can pull
Mortal
from.
You know what?
Like
they could make a spin-off like with the Lin Kuei and like Sub-Zero.
Well, that's the thing too, right? They can do a whole lot of stuff. Like you can do a Special Forces show with just Sonya and Jax. Like there's so many things you can do.
Even just the first 3 games is 3 separate movies.
You don't even have to talk about stories in the games. Like there's literally like almost 100 characters you can pull from. There's so much you can do.
Yeah,
you can really take your time, because especially if you're only doing less than 2 hour movies, you have a lot of time to work with. My God.
Or if you do what they did in this movie, which I'll talk about in the spoiler cast, they could make these movies go on forever.
I mean, they could,
but that's something in the spoilers. I'll bring that up in the spoilers for sure, because it's one of my big complaints.
So we're done with the non-spoiler chat. When are we going to begin the spoiler chat?
When I fucking say it is. So I mean, look, when I honestly rate the movie, I'm giving it 2.5 stars, and I'm not saying it's a 5 out of 10, for example, because I think it's bad. It's just I cannot say that movie is critically good with the writing that's in it. But when I say it's 2 out of 5 stars, that 2 out of 5 stars is just fun. It's just all fun. If the writing was solid, this is easily a 5. Like, if I didn't have any problems with the writing, even if it was just like Cole just kind of didn't fit, but the story was still really good, this is a 5-star movie. It's fucking so much fun. Like, I'd still watch it again, but like, I can't in good conscience not complain about all the mistakes they made, which I'll get into much further detail when we do the spoilers of it. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt on it. The action's so good that it pulls me past how much they do wrong, but it still sticks out. But if they can improve upon it, and again, like I said earlier with Falcon, it might have been a COVID situation where they had to make some decisions because they couldn't get everybody back together. I just hope that if they plan on doing more, that second movie better be damn good and better not have nearly as many plot holes and shitty writing as the first one did.
I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 because it is just fun as shit to watch. It was pure fan service. Cole is definitely the weakest link in the movie, but I do not like it was literally a Mortal Kombat movie. Fun as shit action, a lot of gore, and painfully cringy dialogue.
Yeah, but good painfully cringy. And by the way, you know what the original movie had above this movie? A story that at least went in one direction and made sense the entire way through, even though it was dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Johnny Cage worked his way up to punch Goro in the nuts because he broke his $500 sunglasses. There was a story there. Oh, I guess Liu Kang had to beat Shang Tsung because he killed his brother. I guess that was there too.
The funny thing is, even now with inflation, $500 is still a lot for sunglasses.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true. Yeah, my issue.
Chris, what do you think?
He was about to say
it. My issue with the writing, and it's because I didn't go in expecting great writing, but because the beginning of the movie actually had what
it gave you promise,
felt like solid writing, I was like, oh shit, they're capable of this.
Because there were some cool Easter eggs that made you go like, oh my god, they're actually trying. Like they're doing good referencing.
Yeah, like, you know, I'll give you that. The original, like first 10-15 minutes, it's like, oh, they're
the opening scene that's free on YouTube was so good.
Yeah, like that.
You actually got terror because you know what? We'll straight up spoil that because it's literally on YouTube. It's not behind the film. I was scared as shit that we were about to watch a child get murdered, like legitimately in front of us.
A baby.
Yeah. I actually yelled at my screen and said, "Kill the baby, you coward!" I wanted it. I'm not kidding.
I was like, dude,
"Fucking do it! Fucking do it!" No, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. No one survives.
Babality.
Yeah. No, but yeah, like that first bit, like that's available on YouTube. That the fight, just the acting, the set piece, the story, the emotion.
Ballsy of them too to not do anything really in English too.
Yeah, like it was so solid. I was so excited, and it like hyped me up. Where the bar, obviously, they couldn't keep it up.
I will say it's very amusing though that Scorpion is fluent in Japanese, but at least knows the 3 words "get over here" in English. At least he got that down.
Yes, he did. And I loved how Sub-Zero and Scorpion are talking to each other, but like Scorpion doesn't know Chinese. And then
they're just talking at each other, and they're kind of assuming what they mean.
I don't know what you're saying, but I'm going to kill you. And it's like, what? This is all in subtitles. This is
I'm sure they send malice. They know death is coming.
I loved about this movie from the OG movie is that they actually made Scorpion and Sub-Zero prominent because in the OG movie they were like side fighters inside.
They were just pawns, yeah.
Well, I mean, Sub-Zero was prominent. Scorpion was kind of like you pushed away for a little bit because the star Cole needed to be in there.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But again, spoilers we'll get into afterwards. Yeah. So any last thoughts before we move back into the spoiler territory for stuff?
I give it.
Let's talk about spoilers because I really want to talk about them.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say I give it a solid 7 out of 10 B. Like it would have been if they kept the first 15 minutes like that level of writing and everything, even the first half an hour or so. Like if they just kept it up like that, it would have been, like you said, Adam, like a 5 out of 5.
See, I'm giving it the
Like
2.5 stars
10.
because I love it and it needs to understand how it hurt me. Okay,
Yes,
it's tough
No,
love.
I'm giving it 3.5 stars because it's just like it was good. It was not amazing, but it wasn't awful. There's parts I loved so much, and there was parts I was like, but why?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, from here on out, whether you're watching the stream live or whether you are watching the VOD on YouTube, this is spoilers.
Hashtag spoiler alert.
This is spoilers. We're starting with Falcon and the Winter Soldier again, but from here on out, you see the fucking sticker? It is spoilers from here on out. Don't say I haven't warned you. So in 3, 2, 1. My God, the scene where Captain America fucking killed that guy was awesome.
It was.
Where John took the shield and just smashed his skull.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that, for me, that I was just like,
John Walker, aka Captain America, for like 4 episodes, aka U.S. Agent, was fucking great at what he did.
Yeah,
No, I honestly, I hated him, but I also felt sorry for him because he felt like a complete.
Oh, dude, he's a PTSD
puppet.
fucking military guy. Like, yeah, no, there's
he
a
was
lot
a
to him.
complete.
Yeah.
He was a complete puppet. Like he was being controlled by the government, and it felt like, you know what? He is actually a good guy. He is so like he's a puppet.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the beauty of his villainy is that he is like a very unlikable person, but it's not of his own really his free will. He's kind of just put into the situations that he's in, and I mean, look, the point where he snaps when his buddy gets killed, we get it. Like, you actually understand why he snaps. Now, he could have done it. He could have done it better,
Bucky.
but this is a guy also that like he's got 3 Medal of Honors. He's seen some shit. So this motherfucker is like traumatized to hell.
He was Steve's Bucky. That was the thing. Like, that guy, I forget what his name.
Battlestar or something like that.
That was his name.
That was his Bucky. That was his buddy. That was like.
And it was the beauty of them showing like, hey, John Walker is no Steve Rogers, which is what Bucky was constantly saying to him. It's like, look, you're not Steve. He's like, I'm not trying to be Steve. And, well, it's pretty obvious that he wasn't trying to be because Steve wouldn't have fucking brutally murdered a guy. Because the blood on the shield is probably the second most symbolic thing in that show. Because you never see blood.
Yeah. The Steve
when I saw that, unfortunately, that was the high point of this show. When I saw it, I was like, holy shit.
That was a very good part, but it's still not my heart.
All right, so get on with it. What the hell is it?
For me, it's the episode where they go to Madripoor or whatever the heck that made up place is.
Yeah.
And you find Sharon, and she's got a kick-ass fucking place and throws kick-ass parties where fucking Zemo dances the fucking night away. Doing his fucking thing, and then Disney released a 1-hour loop of the music and the like 30 seconds worth of cut footage of him dancing. That actual
Zemo
episode
was fucking awesome.
When I finished that episode, Zemo became my favorite character in the entire series, and he still was at the end. Like with everything that happened,
I totally forgot who he
favorite.
was because it's been so long since Civil War that I'm like, who? And as soon as I looked, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And also the addition of the Wakanda people, like that was the moment too where I'm like, okay. I like where we're going. By the way, that scene with Bucky getting cleansed, that was like Bucky I can't remember what the actor's name is, but Bucky acted that so fucking well. Thank you. He did a phenomenal job in that scene.
That was one scene that I wanted to bring up. I was like, that was such a painful moment because he's like, I'm free. Like he is actually like he was actually free from his like this is maybe a bad reference.
The only thing that was left was somebody yelling at me, who is Victor Reznov? Or sorry, my name is Victor Reznov, and then you find out that it's not even him.
Chenko.
The whole thing is like when he got free soldier like sleeper agent code, it's like, oh man, like this, because this was one thing in the comics because Bucky, when he was Winter Soldier, it wasn't like, oh, I'm Bucky again, and he got over it. It's like, no, he was traumatized badly, and he was just like completely destroyed. And they showed it this time. That he's like, oh, I'm not a bad guy. I just did horrible things, but I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And they actually showed it this time, and it was actually kind of heartbreaking to see all that stuff.
Yeah. What's the name of the Wakandan force? Do you guys remember? Whatever it was.
There's a name for it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I
think it starts with a V, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was when they were like, "Oh, you don't have jurisdiction."
No, it definitely is not that.
Didn't they say something to them like, "Oh, you don't have jurisdiction," and they're like, "We have jurisdiction wherever we are," or something. Yep. They had some fucking cool lines. I was like, "Okay, yeah."
That was some Shoryag Dajlu in the Expanse thing. It's just whatever the hell I goddamn want.
Yeah.
When she took Bucky's arm off, I'm like, "Oh, you are fucked now."
I like how Bucky had no idea that could even happen, because even his face was like, "The fuck."
Also, with that scene, I'm assuming at that point that John had taken the serum, right?
I think so.
Because here's the thing. Here's one of my very few complaints about the show. They never showed him taking it. I think that was a really missed opportunity. I wanted him to lose one more battle to the point that he forces himself to do it, like he's fighting with it. It just seems like he took it like off screen, which is kind of taking a moment away.
I think the idea was for a couple episodes when you saw him fighting, it left you thinking like, wait, did he take it? Did he not take it? And then all of a sudden you're going to see him punch through a wall or do something epic.
I think we're all led to believe that he did, because he was even like, they weren't even super soldiers. Like, it was his way of being like, I fucking lost and they weren't even super.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe he did then. Yeah, because it's right around then that he took it.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of super soldiers, Carly was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, you agreed with her mission.
I literally was been there like, yeah, no, I don't have a problem with it. Because here's the big thing about it. Because now that we're in spoiler territory, we can freely talk about it. The entire movement that she's a part of is the leftover people from the Snap that suddenly are displaced, because when half the population was gone, the rest of the population was all moved around to try to keep the rest of the world flowing. And now all of a sudden, all these people show back up, and now there's people living in their houses. There's people that are working the jobs that they used to have. And these people that have been there for like maybe 5 years now, they're not going to suddenly just go back home to where they were, because that might also be filled up, or that could be taken down. Like, they don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, it's all fucked up.
It's such an interesting predicament, and that's one was like, I don't know how you would handle that.
Yeah, it would be like there's so much fucking shit.
They're showing that the whole the unsnapping is having just as much repercussions as the original snap.
That's the beauty of it too, is that we all think that it's like the Dragon Balls, whenever they wish people back that everything's fine again. It's like, no, this is literally like 5 years have passed. This isn't like a 2 days later everybody's back to life. This is people have moved the fuck on.
Yeah, like imagine coming back and it's like people have remarried and shit.
Like we all think that like because we're older, the 5 years went by really fast. But like when we get 5 years in the future, we're gonna look back to the show, assuming we're still going, being like, that was a long fucking time ago. Imagine how life changes for you in 5 years.
Yeah,
especially when half the population's missing, so you have to fucking figure out ways to make the rest of the world function.
Yeah, and taking it back to Carly, I liked that. She had, like, I totally agreed with what she wanted. I totally agreed with even the way she was handling it at first. But then they start to do certain things because Zemo kept going like, oh no, she's going to go a little further. The serum kind of takes you a little bit beyond
which I think is
bullshit.
I don't think the serum had anything to do with it. It's just he knew the reality that you can only escalate further. Because that's like how every social issue is. Like, of course, Black Lives Matter started out as just we want black people to be treated nicely, and then eventually the riot started. Like, that's how it works. If your voice doesn't get heard, eventually you have to go to ways to get people to hear you.
Yeah. So when Carly started blowing up a building and stuff, yeah, that's what I liked.
Yeah, and they made it really easy to like her too, because I mean, obviously they picked a very, very like innocent looking, like very like pretty young girl. So it really made it easy to also associate with her and not treat her like an endless villain. So that when she did start to turn, you're like, oh, this is hard because I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like that was the one thing. It's like that's one thing Marvel does very well is like most of the villains you sympathize with them.
Yeah, when it's
You
time to have a
sympathize with-
sympathetic villain, they really do a good job putting one together.
Yeah, like with Killmonger,
Yep.
with Thanos,
Oh, yeah.
even with
Thanos did
Harley,
nothing wrong.
like-
Hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong.
no, it's like a lot of times the villains. It's like, you got a point, brother.
Yeah, except the
When
the original, like first few Marvel movies, they were just like, "I'm the Ironmonger and I want your money, Iron Man."
There's a lot of them that you don't agree with, like the guy from Doctor Strange, the guy from Iron Man.
Well, but that's the beauty of it, is that it's not just one
Red Skull,
trope. There's
obviously,
so
you
many
won't agree
different
because he's a
versions.
fucking Nazi.
Yeah. Like the first few movies were just like, "There's a major bad guy and he's just pure evil."
Well, yeah,
Kill him.
origin stories usually revolve around like just evil people because it's much easier to get behind the hero. That's why Black Panther's first movie I still don't like all that much, because if you want me to really get into a character, you got to give me a villain that's going to be really easy to hate. When I end up liking the villain, that really puts Black Panther at a disadvantage.
Yeah, for sure.
The difference was like Killmonger had good intentions, it's just the wrong methods.
Yeah, but that's a lot of sympathetic villains, right? It's you understand why, but you just don't agree with the method.
Yeah, and it's like with like for me, and this is gonna sound strange coming from me, because I usually support these things. I thought what was poor about the ending of Falcon Winter Soldier, and why I thought it should have been a few more episodes, at least one more. I thought they focused too much on the BLM portion of it. I thought, you know what? I want this. I want this to be a thing. I want this to be spoken about. I want this to be showcased, but not have an entire episode, especially the last episode of the series, based upon it. I thought they should have spread it out more.
I think
and
their intention was
focused
to
on
do it.
story and action.
I think the
That
full
is-
intention
that
was
was
that
my
this
biggest
movie
issue.
was going to be about racial division.
Yeah.
I
think,
don't think
they
the show
definitely-
is ever going to be a Captain America the Winter Soldier level action movie. I think they've thought, okay, we'll be able to put this message of diversity and inclusion, but put it behind this, very cookie cutter Marvel action series. I think that was their strategy.
With what I want with Isaiah, that was absolutely soul crushing.
Yeah,
The
because
way
you're basically
they-
looking at like experimentation on black people. Like you're literally going to like the worst degree of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I think that it would have been better, and everybody, like, we would have all been a little bit happier. Take the moment that, Sam takes the shield, becomes the new Captain America, make that an episode, and then another episode where it's then the final battle, and then end with the big speech.
I do believe that the speech is still important to be the last episode. I think that
Yeah,
what the
like,
last
I think
episode
it
is
should
makes
still be the
sense.
last
It needs to
episode.
be there.
Yeah, but I mean, like the way that the last episode runs, I think that still should have been the final episode. Maybe you just have like an episode or two before it, right?
I think he should have become Cap one episode before, so there was a much bigger
Yeah, like you
build-up.
take the mantle as like as the episode before is about to end, like just to be like, all right, now it's time.
Yeah, like give it more time where he gets to be Cap on screen, so we get to absorb more, like, wow, this is him now, and then give his speech. Because it was like his speech was amazing, one of my favorite parts of the entire show. But him being Cap, it felt like he was only Cap for like 15 minutes, and then he's giving the speach. Like, I want him to be Cap for like a whole episode where I've seen him being in the role and getting to like show, how like how much it is his, like how much he deserves it, how good he is with it, and build it up, have a bigger battle, and then have the big speech. So it's like,
I think they
it's
purposely
more
made
intense.
John Walker so unlikable that audience would have been like, "Oh, okay, finally the right person's Captain America."
I think
now.
that they wouldn't have even had to make him unlikable. It's just the fact that it's another guy taking Steve Rogers' spot when we already know who he wanted it to be, and there's still Bucky, who canonically already has taken the mantle. So all you have to do is put any random guy in that suit, and people will be like, "That's fucking bullshit. That's not Cap."
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure.
It's
They
like
just
all
happened
these,
to
like,
also
I
on top of
thought,
it, right? Like a pretty like unlikable, like cookie cutter, like spoiled white boy kind of character.
But I think it's also, this is why they're deciding to release Black Widow on streaming as well, because Elaine's character,
Oh, is she in
Madam,
Black Widow? Apparently,
she is.
okay,
Wow.
then that
She'll
makes
be
sense.
Introduced in Black Widow.
Okay, that
so I
makes
think
sense.
that is why this is because they're like, you know what, the show's coming out and she's already been introduced. We might as well just we have to take our losses at this point.
Well, then that brings me
Yeah.
to the thing that people were writing about endlessly about John Walker. It was the scene in the last episode where he helps them try to save that vehicle from falling. Because their thing was, I can't believe that they would have this completely piece of shit unlikable character try to redeem himself. I'm like, guys, am I the only one here that figured out that Elaine or whoever her character is, I forget what her actual name in the show is, but like
Madam Hydra. Oh, Val.
Val, thank you. Am I the only one that figured out pretty quickly that Val probably pulled some strings to get him the costume back and tell him, go do that because it'll redeem yourself, you'll get credit back in the military, you get brought back in, and you're my agent.
No,
Because I thought that right away.
I think U.S. agent did that on his own. Because
I'm not willing to
avenge,
believe that yet
Battlestar.
because right after, like, as soon as he left, all of a sudden she's like, yeah, you got pardoned for this, and here, you're now my U.S. agent. My brain goes, there's some string pulling to get him in there. Because otherwise, why would she be talking to him? Why would she been talking to him in the first place? She put something in his head to make him try to redeem himself.
I don't think John Walker is going to last long in the MCU. I think he's going to be like Yondu, where he maybe has one more appearance
Sure.
and he dies.
But that was my thing. Whereas I watch people spend so much time bitching about that one moment instead of talking about Sam taking the mantle in that speech. Because I'm like, guys, you're assuming already. Also, somebody in the chat's trying to spam here, so you're banned. Get the fuck out.
What'd they say?
Oh, it was a spam message being like, do you want more followers kind of thing? But like, all they're complaining about is like, well, this fucking guy's trying to get a redeeming moment. He's supposed to be this hateful like piece of shit. It's like, guys, like I don't like. Even if he actually was trying to redeem himself, it's still inconsequential. But I think there's even a case to be made that he wasn't even doing it of his own volition. Like he was doing it because he was told to, or he was influenced into doing so. I really do think that there's an openness that Val told him to, like, or not directly said, go save the fucking falling truck, but say, hey, get in there, do what you can to help because it makes you look good and we can get something out of you from that.
I think John was actually legitimately trying to be a good guy, was legitimately trying to be like Cat.
And that's fine, but then the argument would be, how does he get the suit again? Because he's no longer allowed to have the mantle. So some string pulling has to happen for him to get the suit. That's why my brain goes, she got him to go over there and help because it would make him look good on his record again.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to... A guy that literally just got his title removed and is like kicked out of the military, like discharged, is not going to suddenly become a U.S. agent.
Well, I think the way I saw it was that he wanted still revenge to murder Carly. So that's why he showed up at the end there, because he was just like, you killed my friend, so I'm going to kill you. And I think he had just like this
Battlestar was his
PTSD.
boy.
Yeah. And I think he was having like a PTSD moment where it's like, this truck is falling. The person I want to kill's there. What do? I can only do one. He ended up choosing for the truck, but it's not like necessarily he's redeemed or anything. I think it's just really good writing.
I mean, if anything,
showing
at
he's still
best, it's
super
showing
conflicted.
that he's multi-layered, that he isn't just a cookie-cutter bad guy or good guy. Like, there's a bit of
I think
both.
he's like, I don't want to say multiple personality, but it's kind of like he's got what he wants, but then he also has these just like PTSD urges, and he's just like, he's not one set thing. He's a wild card. He could do something good and help because he wants the fame, or maybe he wants to help, or he wants to be a good soldier or whatever. But then also he may just murder someone.
Is what's going to happen with Sharon, because Sharon's clearly not on the Avengers side.
That's one of my only complaints, is that they kind of changed Sharon into like a bad guy.
Which, I mean, it's probably going to more affect the series than the
Makes her
movies. I
hotter.
don't think she's going to be a major player in anything.
Yeah.
She'll probably just be something that comes up in like later series or something.
I think it's just because it's Peggy Carter's like niece. So I keep thinking like, no, you're Peggy. You're just new Peggy.
But that's what makes it interesting, right? Is it's now somebody related to, in a way, to Steve that's suddenly like...
Yeah, and she kissed Steve. She kissed him. Or he kissed her. I don't know. But now she's evil. And Steve's going to be heartbroken.
Steve's dead.
Yeah, he also...
By the way, are we assuming he's dead? Because do they actually like outright say he's passed?
No, I don't think he's dead.
They
I don't think he's dead.
never confirmed 100% that he's dead.
I mean, they said the word
like,
Steve's gone. I don't know if that means dead or just like retired and hiding in the forest.
Yeah, I think it's the forest one. Like, I think
Because
he's
it
just
does-
like
it-
a 98-year-old dude.
It does
sitting
bring up the
somewhere.
interesting thing that he could come back for like a thing, right?
Yeah, just says
Well,
his
that's
old
what they're
self. Like,
saying.
hey,
That
guys.
like Chris
Multiverse
Evans
theory
is-
exists soon, so
Yeah,
Also true. Oh,
but that's
I
like
need
the
more Cap.
whole thing. It's like, is Steve Rogers gone or no?
yeah.
Like, we don't know yet.
yeah.
Last thing I wanted to say is, as much as I love Sam being the new Cap, I hate the fucking suit.
I wasn't
It's
a
too
fan of it.
bright.
It's too bright.
It's very bright. Yeah, it's supposed to be like military, like
I
combat.
prefer if they did the colors that they did for Winter Soldier or Infinity Wars and Endgame, I would be okay with it. But it's too bright and too dated.
There is even a part of me that wanted the Falcon taken away. Like, there was an honest part of me that when we knew that there were more serums, I was sitting there being like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was like one serum left? It's the one that John took. And John, we know, hasn't taken it. He's still looking, he keeps bringing it up and staring at it, being like, should I not? And then it gets to a point where, you know, they're fighting again and John's losing and he's about to do it. And there's that moment where like Sam realizes like, oh fuck, like I gotta stop him before it gets worse. And he tries to like deflect his arm and he gets hit instead.
Oh,
And all of a
yeah.
sudden now you have Sam actually being a super soldier and you can give him the mantle without having to worry about the wings anymore. Because I think that's going to be the hardest part. As much I'm okay with Sam being Cap, the problem it's going to take for a little bit longer for me is to see Cap now with wings. I think that's going to be the challenge.
I think I'm okay with Cap with wings because I liked like some of the cool maneuvers that he
Well,
was
yeah, they were
doing.
very smart in using his gear. Like the thrusters are now his power, like how he dug the wings into the ground to keep himself sturdy. Like,
Yeah.
there's some cool stuff they can do. It's just how, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's going to take a while to adjust to the fact that Cap
Yeah.
now is flying.
Yeah, Cap is flying. Yeah, I think my biggest issue was 100% just the suit.
Too much white.
Yeah, like I think it's in the comics. Like that's
I'm sure that was a big theme about the whole series. Too much white.
too much white. So what do? They cover him in white. I think it's the comic outfit that he has, but still, I think it's just so bright and it's just like
It doesn't
how's
work
it,
on,
like,
on a film screen though.
Cap in Winter Soldier. Cap jumps out of a plane to like infiltrate a boat, and he's like stealthy and stuff at first, and it was cool. You can't fucking stealth in that fucking glow in the dark suit. Like you're gonna fly in. It's like, oh, there's Cap. He's right there.
Yeah, all you're gonna hear
It's
is
a very bright light.
as the jets come pouring in. Like there's no silence to that thing.
Yeah, he's got a shield,
Well,
but just if everybody fires at once,
maybe
one
it'll
bullet's
be
gonna hit him.
like
Just-
what it was in the MCU, where Steve's first costume, well, never mind. Steve's costume in the Avengers was worse than his first costume.
Well, yeah, they're gonna completely.
And,
They're definitely gonna redesign it when they do the movie. Like, there's no way they're not.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do the movie with that being the main thing you're looking at through the whole thing. Like,
And I think
it's
enough
too
people have
bright.
made their voice heard that I think they'll have to listen to it anyway.
yeah, like I love him as Cap. I'm definitely okay with the wings and shield, but like just
Yeah, it'll
Dark and
take some
don't choose
time
white.
for me, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm more just like, man, did you have to though? Like, there's still that part of me that's like, man, Cap has always been like foot soldier, like straight up. Like, man, this is gonna be weird, like for a while.
yeah, I can see it.
No, Falcon has taken the mantle of Cap
No, I know,
before,
but I
and
mean, like, most casual people don't know that, so they only know Cap as that. It would be like if Spider-Man was suddenly on a fucking hoverboard, you know?
or if you had Iron Man costume. Oh wait, he does.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's completely changing the dynamic of it.
Yeah, and when he's in the air, he looks like a giant PS5 flying around. It's too wet. Like, just come on, man. Just take the panels off, put different panels. You're fine.
I mean, otherwise, like, the speech was fucking great. Like that.
Yeah,
that's
the speech,
that's
yeah.
the ultimate highlight, because if there's anything that's gonna get people to chill the fuck out, which it won't, because if your heels are that dug in, it's not changing anything.
I know. As I would think I was.
2021, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Vishal, I think I was talking to you after we both watched it like really early that day. Like I watched it first thing in the morning like you. I couldn't even wait. And I think I messaged and I was like, it felt like it was fourth wall breaking when he was like, I can feel it right now. The people looking, judging, talking about.
Well, they literally
me.
even talked
And
about it
it's
with
like-
Isaiah. Like, yeah, what do you think is going to happen when people see a black man wearing Cap's uniform? Like, They were alluding to this
It
for
felt
a
like
while.
he was
Like,
talking to Twitter.
The whole
No,
the
more
whole
like let's be
situation
honest, it's
with
more
Isaiah.
Facebook than Twitter now.
Is it? Oh,
The
damn.
whole situation with Isaiah, like, legitimately broke my heart. Like, it was like,
Oh, the ending
Man.
when he gets his like section in the cat memorial. Oh, I almost cried on that one because you
Ooh.
felt it.
the feels.
The
Yeah,
feels of
it
like
was-
you meant something now.
This whole show was very anti-government. I've just realized,
Which is
like,
amazing.
Which is hilarious
Like,
coming from
yeah.
Disney.
yeah, like it's Disney, like because
I'm pretty sure Disney in the next 10 years is going to own the government too. They're going to just buy them out.
True.
Disney buys the Democrat Party of the United States for $15 billion.
Well, here's what happens in 10 years. It's like, Chris Evans for president, Captain America for president, Steve Rogers for president. All right, I'm in.
I mean, it's either that or
right?
Trump. So, I mean, take your...
Uh,
It's like, if you got
Oh,
Trump,
he's
Tucker
dead by
Carlson, or do you want Dwayne The Rock Johnson with Chris Evans as his running mate? That sounds fucking like a pretty shoo-in like debate for me.
Or vice versa.
I'm in.
I'm okay
No,
with
Rock,
Disney-
Rock's got to be the president. Let's be honest. But if it's between
Disney
those two...
can make it happen. He was in Moana, right? So he'll just. What was that song? He was the badass in that fucking
What can
movie.
I say? You're welcome.
Yeah, what can I say? You're welcome. See, yeah, perfect president right there.
Any last bits,
Yeah,
though,
we're
before we go into Mortal Kombat?
Just Disney is very
I am-
anti-government.
I think. Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen. If season 2 is gonna be Captain America and the Winter Soldier,
I mean, it would have to be.
or if it's going to be Captain America 4.
By the way, I
And the
couldn't
Winter
help
Soldier.
myself when he first showed the suit. I'm like, hey, Lisa, I was talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, it's Captain Falcon. Watch him do a Falcon kick.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was a joke the entire time.
I'm pretty sure that was they said it like, oh, that's Captain Falcon, and then the guy's like, nah, that's Captain America.
They did say it.
I was
Yeah.
trying so hard not to be like, oh man, the Falcon Punch memes are going to be so epic.
I just wish somebody had said Falcon Punch, but I guess they would have had to pay Nintendo
Oh,
or something.
No, you don't.
I don't know. I don't know.
If
the
they
fucking
trademark that, like that's some bullshit.
rules. Yeah,
Also, then every
They're going
every
to.
person on Twitter would have been banned by now.
this is true. Or owes Nintendo a quarter.
So we all going to move back onto Mortal Kombat again?
Yeah, because I got a lot to say for that one.
All right, so I need to ask you guys the most important question out of all the questions I need to ask right now.
Okay.
When did Goro become such a bitch?
Yeah, Goro was a bitch. He was a bitch. I was
Honestly,
so upset.
I think in the most recent game, because
No. I don't care about the games. Don't care about the games. Goro, this is first Mortal Kombat game Goro we're supposed to be looking at here.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the
Goro
second
went
final-
out like a fucking bitch to a guy who just got his powers for the first time.
and his powers is a little bit of extra skin or something.
It's
weird.
armor
fucking-
and
yeah.
Tongfa.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a fucking I've got a police baton.
I got a
and I'm-
stick
I'm-
and a knife, and you can't hurt me if you punch me in the chest. My head's still completely exposed.
Goro grabs
Like
head
at that
and
point,
legs,
Goro
rips
just
in half.
does this and squeezes his head and shows over. I actually, speaking
Yeah.
of that moment though, I thought he was killing the family because I thought that was going to be very much like Scorpion. Because now that we're in spoiler section, Cole is technically Scorpion,
Yep.
He's Scorpion's descendant. He's Scorpion's thing.
and then the entire show they were like, or in the entire movie they're like, is it going to happen? And then it goes, no, he gets shitty armor and a fucking stick.
Yeah.
And I thought that they were going to kill his, like, I don't know if it was that his wife or was just
His
like his
wife
friend?
and daughter.
I couldn't
Yeah.
te- like I couldn't tell if they
It's
were actually like
it's his
together.
wife and daughter. Yeah.
So I thought he was going to kill them to mirror Scorpion so he transforms. Made sense.
That would have been cool. That actually would have been kind of cool.
And then they just turn it and be like, no, he just gets his power and he beats Goro in like 5 seconds like it was a WWF squash match back in the 90s.
His power-
Usually in those days, guys, Andre the Giant is the one that wins in 5 seconds.
So that's one thing that's been trending about this movie is that Goro was completely wasted. Even though Goro,
I mean, everybody
fucking
was wasted.
awesome.
Melina doesn't do shit. Melina doesn't even bite somebody in this movie.
Okay. In all fairness, though, when the way Melina died, that's another moment that would have had the audience blowing up in the theater.
No, it wouldn't have. I would have been.
Kung
No,
Lao.
I would have yelled furiously because one, it just comes out of nowhere. Melina never really fought anything, and two, Sonya, we didn't even know that she unlocked the power yet. That was like her trying it out for the first time.
No, but I mean, like, with the way Melina died with Kung Lao's fatality, and then he's like, flawless victory. We all would have been cheering.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Him killing Natara. By the way, Natara was an interesting choice for a character in that.
Yeah.
I was happy about it.
Melina.
I love how she talked by screeching, though. That was funny. I couldn't help but laugh at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, see, that's the kind of stupid I like. Natara just screeches.
Yeah. This is when the writing just
awesome.
This is when the writing just like took a fucking toll on me.
Because like they had a good concept.
So much?
They honestly had a good idea.
Mortal Kombat movie, dude.
Instead of Mortal Kombat, the tournament being the 10th tournament and the final tournament, they were like, hey, what happens if we just turn that completely around and actually the tournament never happens because Shang Tsung tries to illegally end it?
Yeah, but the tournament's still happening. This movie is like
it's still going to happen now because I mean he's just going to revive all the people that died.
This is the movie where they're like, "Hey, there's gonna be a tournament. Are there?" And then fucking.
It is the bait and switch of like, "Hey, you talk about the tournament literally in the opening text, and it never happens." But I mean, if they had followed through and just said the tournament's not happening now because the Elder Gods had to step. Because by the way, here's another big question. This would have been priority number 2 on the list. They literally go into Raiden's temple and try to kill people. Where are the Elder Gods in this? Yeah, that's literally breaking the rules. We see in fucking Mortal Kombat Reboot, in Mortal Kombat 9, what happens when Shao Kahn wins by illegally trying to take over. So where are the Elder Gods?
Yeah, that was one of my issues with this, because it was like, the tournament feels like it has no purpose.
And again, Raiden was being such a bitch. All he did was slam his staff down and be like, enough! He was trying to do the you shall not pass thing, but failed.
Yeah, he can make a shield and teleport people. He's just teleporting people and making a shield like, oh, I can't interfere.
He didn't even dive at anybody and scream random words.
Yeah, get back in the car! Get back in the car!
For me,
he should have hit somebody
I just
in the
thought
car.
the movie itself was a lot of really good fan service. Like they actually
if we're talking about the fan service stuff, it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But
what's your favorite fan service moment? That's what I want to know. What's your favorite
Reptile, where Kano ripped out his heart, I'm like, oh, no, he didn't.
That was a good one.
That's tough. What's my favorite fan service moment?
I got mine. When Liu Kang was doing the sweeping kick and kept knocking Kano down, because in the game, there's those cheap assholes that
it's like,
do that.
Is that the only move
kick?
You know?
Yeah, that was such a fucking, like, hey, everyone, this is
I'll say my favorite fan service because I'm more of the hidden behind the stuff. When Kano tried to steal Shinnok's amulet.
Ah, yes. That was good.
There's a moment where he, like, because you see Katana's fan, because there's a couple of, like, things in there. But there's Shinnok's amulet, which is this round like disc with a green jewel in the middle, and he grabs it, puts it in his pocket, and Kung Lao says, "Put that back." He goes, "Put what back?"
Yeah, because he definitely.
It's also the thing too of like that is the last thing you should steal from there. Oh my god.
So for me, my favorite moment in that, plain and simple, and it's such a vintage moment, is when Scorpion's like, "Get over here."
Yeah.
Because plain and simple. If we saw that and heard that in the theater, it would have like hyped us up like anything. That's what I feel like. This movie itself was not meant to be watched at home. Was not meant to be watched by yourself.
I mean, I'll still fight that by saying, hey, you can watch it wherever the fuck you feel like. It just would have been better in a theater. It's not that you can't watch it at home.
Yeah, like I think it was still great watching it. I only just watched it on my laptop. Like I didn't even put it on a TV. I just
I hooked my laptop up to my big screen because I'm like, I am not watching. I gotta watch this at least on the biggest screen I have.
Yeah, I watched it at like 2 a.m. in bed. But yeah,
there was a lot of great Easter eggs though. Like obviously, when they introduced Cole Young, the guy's like, "Hey, you're the guy who beat Eddie Tobias," which is in reference to Ed Boon and John Tobias.
Yes, Ed Boon and John Tobias.
There was the point where you see Sonya's wall of Mortal Kombat stuff, where you see Nightwolf reference there.
Yep, yeah, I saw that.
There is an urn there that kind of looks like Mataro's silhouette is put on the urn. So that was a little thing.
What's it called? Kotal Khan was.
Yeah, Kotal Khan was potentially referenced as like an Aztec god. There's the point where you go and where Jax is about to get his arms ripped off, where you see graffiti on the wall, and the Scorpion's ice ball input was in there, like the downright AB or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like that's actually graffitied on the wall. You actually see like downright something like it just shows the input code, and then of course that's when Sub-Zero's ice ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that fight at the end with Scorpion and Sub-Zero when they finally fight again, but they're like actual Sub-Zero.
Like I went back to this is fucking great again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It started so
It
good and it
redeemed the
ended so
movie,
good.
It didn't
But then you
redeem the
had-
movie. I was still mad at the end, but I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
at least I'm having fun towards the end.
Yeah, like why the fuck was Goro fighting Cole in a farm?
Goro
Like, what the
lost
fuck
in
is
10
happening?
seconds. Molina lost to one shot. She didn't even bite a motherfucker. That's what I'm most angry about.
In all fairness, Kung Lao did a flawless victory. So
I don't
true.
care. That was when the movie was still fun. I'm talking about the bad parts.
Yeah, and like they are.
I'll be
it's
honest.
Like, oh,
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Raikou did not need to be there. You could have found so many. Like Ermac
No,
would have been
he
the
did
first
not.
choice. Like what?
wait, who? Sorry.
Like Raikou, the general.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the hammer.
Like Ermac would have been like Shang Tsung's guy long before Raikou would be.
Yeah, I didn't even know who that was. I think
Like,
that's
he
one of
would-
the Mortal
who's
Kombat
that?
games I don't know.
He's like Mortal Kombat like trilogy like stuff. Like it's so like
Yeah,
There's okay, so there's one character I'm thinking of. It's not Shinnok. It's this one guy. He's very pale. He's like
Quan Chi.
Not Quan Chi.
Who's pale,
let me see.
then?
He's in Mortal Kombat X. I know that.
Quan Chi,
Pale and that.
what is-
bald head. He looks like Hellraiser.
I'm like, huh?
Maybe. What's his name, Chris?
It's not going to
Quan
be the guy
Chi.
from Hellraiser.
No, he looks like the guy from fucking Hellraiser.
Yeah, Quan Chi does.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because like they're like we're talking like early Mortal Kombat days, so like you have to have like the guys closer to him at the time. It doesn't make sense to like bring these random guys in there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's Quan Chi. That would have
Yeah.
made more sense.
Well, Quan Chi is more aligned with Shinnok, so he doesn't need to be with
Yeah.
Shang Tsung. Quan Chi
Yeah,
like
we-
doesn't really
okay.
appear until Mortal Kombat 4.
Yeah, so that's what I have a feeling their idea is that they could do a movie for each game, but as we saw with this movie, we haven't even got to the first game.
This was
yet.
like Mortal Kombat 0.5.
Yeah, this was oh my god, was this one of those
it
anthology
wasn't even a real Mortal
games?
Kombat tournament.
Yeah, it wasn't even Mortal Kombat. It was like fucking training.
And I still would have been fine with the concept. It's just it didn't. It's again, like I said in the non-spoiler section, it suffered from not having an extra 30 minutes because they rushed through.
Yeah.
Like Goro dies, and then they immediately go. By the way, you don't kill off all the villains in a montage.
Yeah, no.
That was really dumb. Like that
Yeah,
was
individual
horribly
fights.
written.
Yeah.
They were just like,
Oh,
okay,
no.
here's the plan. So we're gonna get to this guy, and then also they killed Raikou without throwing him off the edge of the bridge where the spikes were underneath. They misused that stage.
That pissed me off. Oh,
Yeah, but they also
they
wasn't
should
that a
have had the
finishing
fights.
move for Jax where he used his hands to like
That's
squish his
fine,
head
but
or
then
whatever?
his body should have kicked his body off the edge.
Ah, yes,
I
onto
agree.
the spikes. Yeah, that's a good
Melina
kill.
died to a single shot to the chest. And by the way, like I know people are gonna say, well, that's what would happen. Like we all play Mortal Kombat. They take a lot of these shots over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like they
Literally,
were like, oh, crap.
like Liu Kang threw a fireball at Kano or somebody in that, and they were fine. But Sonya's first time using her sonic shot thingy, instant death.
Yeah. It was weird because they start fighting. They're like, oh, Shang Tsung is so strong and all his guys are killing us. Wait a minute. Raiden, you can teleport people anywhere, right? We'll just go fight them again, but this time we'll win. And then they just go.
Yeah, they just
And
somehow
fight. It was like,
it's like Dragon Ball level logic where it's just like you got beaten once, now you're infinitely more powerful than them.
they beat them
And
like,
then like
that.
the whole
There was no like that's the thing too of it being so rushed. Like there was never a struggle.
No.
The
There was
only
no
struggle
They
came
were-
with Scorpion killing Sub-Zero. That was it.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the
Like,
only
Cole
real
didn't even
battle.
really struggle once he got his power.
Yeah. Which is the stupidest power. What the fuck is that? They couldn't have thought of anything else?
I think in future movies, if Cole is there, they'll actually transform into Scorpion.
I don't think they should because now that Scorpion exists and he's undead, he can't go away.
I hope Cole dies and Scorpion just
I hope
shows
he
up
pulls
because
a
Cole
Johnny
died.
Cage Annihilation in the next movie where he dies in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd be into it. As long
we
as
do not
Scorpion
speak of
shows
that
up.
name.
But like going back to that montage thing, Cabal, who was fucking awesome
Oh,
too. Him and
Cabal is
Kano,
awesome.
I need those. If you want to talk about a Mortal Kombat universe, I need a Cabal Kano move like TV
Yeah.
series.
Oh,
That's like
that
a
would be-
Hobbs and Shaw shit from
Yes.
like Fast and Furious.
Cabal didn't even
Wait, oh.
die right though. Liu Kang did the dragon, and the fire dragon bites him, and nothing happens, and then he burns to death.
Yeah. And was Cabal a evil character in Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat?
Kind
I
of.
thought-
I
It
think
was more just vengeance for him getting burned.
Yeah, because I feel like at least in Mortal Kombat 9, I feel like he was on the Alliance's side, wasn't he? Or am I wrong?
Oh wait,
on
he
that?
survived Shao Kahn.
Yeah, like I feel like
Well, in Mortal Kombat 9, like he.
I know it's kind of like a rebooted.
Okay, so the
version.
story is that in the reset timeline, he was shown to be on the good side, but then Kano convinced him. So it was almost like an opposite thing where he convinced Kano to then jump ship.
Mm. Okay.
It was funny. It's like he's a real shit stain. You'd love him.
Yeah, no, it was that again. That's why when I knew Cabal was starting, I'm like, okay, Cabal's gonna be awesome too.
Yeah.
So like, just all these guys die, and then Shang Tsung doesn't even fight.
Character.
That's the other thing too. Shang Tsung doesn't do shit in this movie.
Yeah. And
I think they're saving that for like
the next movie.
On.
Well, then you probably should have communicated that a little bit better, because I think people were going and expecting.
Well, it's like when he like sucks the soul out of Kung Lao.
That also came out of nowhere too, and I didn't appreciate that either.
I don't know. I kind of
no. Kung Lao never lost a fight. Kung Lao wasn't weak.
Yeah, he was one of the strongest.
Well, no, Kung Lao wasn't beaten down either. Like, it just happened. He just like sucked him over there and then grabbed him by the throat and took his soul. Like, that was it. He literally beat Natara, like just destroyed her, and then he's like, get over here, just not like Scorpion, and then sucked his soul out. Like, it wasn't like, when he beats like Liu Kang's brother in the beginning of the movie, where he legitimately floors him. Or like when he sucks the kickboxing guy after Goro, like basically kills him and then sucks his soul. Like, he's not going after weak people or dead people. He's just grabs a perfectly healthy fighter and just goes, done. To which I would say, why didn't he just do that for everybody? Like, right
why
there.
Didn't he just go, I have 2 hands, one each.
He could have done him and Liu Kang in one fell swoop, and this movie would have been over already.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt so rushed at that point. And none of the enemies besides... Actually, I don't even know if Sub-Zero got a backstory, but nobody else got a backstory. They were just like the generals of Shang Tsung.
It was Scorpion and Cole. That was it. Like, Jax, I mean, you saw how he got his arms, but that's about as far as that went.
Yeah. Like,
also, I was so annoyed that Reptile didn't have his ninja gear on. Like, there was a lot of little things I'm mad about, but the writing is mostly my complaints.
Yeah.
It was designed to be a Mortal Kombat movie, so the writing and the dialogue didn't bother me because...
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about the dialogue. At no point did I ever mention the dialogue. I don't know why you keep going back to the dialogue. We have never said a bad thing about the dialogue. It's just the writing in the second half, because they rushed 20 minutes of deaths.
Yeah.
And just like completely wrote off like the entire idea of what Mortal Kombat is.
Mortal Kombat shouldn't have a montage. Like,
no, you can have a training montage. That's fine.
Fine.
Do a Karate Kid training montage. I'm cool. Whatever. But like, I don't need to see 4 people die in the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah, and like maybe don't even call it Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat's in the next movie. Look, we're not even at the tournament yet. This is us just being told that there's a tournament. Maybe
honestly, if they called it Earthrealm, it probably would have been better.
Mortal Kombat Earthrealm.
No, just Earthrealm. Don't even put Mortal Kombat attached to it, because then people are going to be like, "Well, there's a tournament, right?"
Yeah.
I think for marketing reasons, they.
I know, but let's be honest. It wasn't a Mortal Kombat movie. It just happened to be a fighting like action movie with Mortal Kombat characters. But it wasn't a Mortal Kombat movie of any stretch. There was nothing Mortal Kombat about the story in that show.
Yeah, and honestly, they should have had a scene where Cole got out of a car and then Raiden grabbed him and put him in the car and said, "Get in the car!" like that.
Also, yeah, he did. Liu Kang did the bicycle kick and didn't go. Whoop, 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 whoop.
That's true. The bicycle kick was in there. That was important.
Yep,
Still defies physics. Still defies physics. His fire dragon makes more sense to me than the fucking bicycle kick. But
like, I know that everybody's coming back too, but like, again, Kano, who was a badass for like the entirety of it, and then all of a sudden, again, bitch as soon as he faces Sonya solo. That's just my problem, is that once they went to the point where like, okay, now we need to eliminate all the villains, it's like, you basically just made it look like they had no power, like they were just children.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker probably had a harder time killing the children than the fucking heroes did trying to kill the villains in this movie.
Oh, why did you have to go there?
Because I had to. I'm out of line, but I'm right.
This is just...
I saw a funny meme today where it was, what was it called? Anakin, the actors who play Anakin, Skywalker, and Chancellor Palpatine are going to go visit children's hospitals today. And it's like,
But no, like I said, even in the non-spoiler section, I fucking love the movie, but like there were still some real insults thrown at me as a person who actually like knows the lore. It's just like, guys, all these legendary fighters just got bitched the fuck out.
Yeah. That 20 minutes to half an hour in there, horrible.
Well, what's going to happen with the sequel is that
assuming it happens. Let's say we're assuming it happens because I'm not convinced yet, because even if it makes some money, like the critic, well, I mean, it got favorable reviews for a video game movie, so it probably would. But there are a lot of fans that are gonna be like, nah, do I want to watch a second one, or I might wait until after it's like a few like
it's like
they won't. I think there's a segment of people that aren't gonna watch it day one.
Sidebot.
He's gonna be what?
Noob Sidebot.
Who is?
Because that happened in the first game.
Yeah,
where Sub-Zero became Noob Sidebot.
Well, I mean, they already have a second Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero's brother ends up taking the mantle after the first game. So.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, I said, I said, like Vish was talking about noobs, so it probably didn't come out as clearly. I don't think they're going to have, like, we're going to assume this movie's going to be in theaters when the second one comes out if it gets made. I think there's a few Mortal Kombat, like, hardcore fans that are going to wait until, like, a little bit after the movie comes out to actually watch it. So that first weekend might actually not be as good as they might want it, because people are now going to be a little bit wary because of how the writing is in the first movie.
Yeah, maybe.
It might be other, because I mean, it depends on when, it depends on what the trailer shows. Who knows? They might be able to salvage something with it. But like, I'll tell you personally, I have no interest in seeing the movie on its like opening weekend because I don't trust it right now, because I don't think the writing is giving me that reason to.
I'll definitely still see it.
I'll probably still see it, but I don't think I want to see it right away because I don't want to. And I'm going to need to know ahead of time, like not without spoiling myself, like at least if they do a better job with it.
Yeah, I definitely still see it because it's a video game movie, and I try and support as many of those as possible. Well,
my intention would still be to support it, but I don't think I want to see it opening night.
Yeah,
I want to at least like hear what other people think about it first.
Yeah,
because I don't want to go in expecting it to be horrible and then be even more disappointed. I'd rather know ahead of time what I'm walking into, sort of.
Yeah, and it just sucks because the first like half an hour of this movie and the ending of the movie even. They proved they could do I don't want to say serious, just like a well-written Mortal Kombat quality story. Much like Mortal Kombat 9 did, where all of a sudden you played that game and did the story mode and you're like, holy shit, like there's an actual decent story here on top of it. And they could have done that in this movie. They showed they could have, but then they just rushed this whole part.
As soon as Kung Lao dies, that's when the story just completely loses it.
Yeah. And the thing is like you spend all this time sitting in a temple and you're like, okay, something's about to happen. You like the temple scene is when everybody's meeting. That's a build up to something.
I was also looking at the clock being like, man, like they're running out of time. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, I kept checking too. I kept looking at the time. I'm like, all right, so clearly they're not getting to a tournament, but there's like 27 minutes left and we're just at this temple. So is anything going to happen? Like, we're building up.
Like if we're realistically rewriting from Kung Lao's death on, we're talking about like they're training a little bit further. They try to get prepared for an assault, and at best they kill Raikou, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like everybody else, they back off. You see Shao Kahn at the end being like, "Prepare for the tournament."
Yeah.
And then that's how it ends. Because you can go off like them leaving, but Sub-Zero stays behind because he wants to fucking finish the job because he's that prideful, because he's Lin Kuei. He's got pride. And that's when you get the Scorpion part, and that's when you get to the end of the movie.
Yeah, because that fight didn't need to be changed. I mean, you could take Cole out of it, but
literally, also with the Cole fight, Goro obviously doesn't get fucking bitched out either.
Yeah, and don't even include Goro yet. He's supposed to be the second last boss.
Yeah, Goro should not, you tease Goro, but you don't put him in a fight.
No, he's like,
if you're not having a tournament, Goro should not be fighting, because Goro is meant to show like this is the guy you don't fuck with. This is when you pull like, because I think Mortal Kombat's not just Earthrealm out against Outrealm. I think all the realms get put in. So you could have other realms.
I think it is mainly between Earth Realm and Outer Realm.
Well, they could always just like hand wave and be like, oh, by the way, and this realm's a part of it too. Like, because it would make sense that if this realm, like, I don't know, it's fucking weird how it works.
Well, because I think Outrealm, what the hell's what's that called again?
Outrealm.
Because they took over other realms through Mortal Kombat tournaments already.
So if anything, what you do
they could just
then,
be like, we took over that one.
So you do one of two things then. For the next movie, I guess we would assume is you get a couple more extra Earthlings that just kind of get put in as like stock fighters, or you say like, okay, here's a training exercise, and they just take slaves that they have kept prisoner, throw them into the ring, and they have to try to fight to survive, like almost like it's Gladiator, and they just get killed as fodder, like it's training practice for these guys. So that's when you bring up Goro just ripping a guy completely apart.
Yeah,
I think that'll be based upon the storyline for the most recent Mortal Kombat.
Because I don't know anything about it, I don't want to spoil it. But I mean, we all know they're going to have a variation of the original game.
Baraka was one of those characters.
Yeah, but I mean, like, literally just take a nobody, just take some random extra, and just have him get torn to pieces. Like, that's all you need. You just need to establish Goro as a tough guy. Instead, I have no faith that Goro has any level of power anymore. Because what do they do now in a second movie? Because you know they're bringing them all back. You can't not have Melina, Goro, and all these people.
I think they're going to focus on Kintaro and Motaro.
That would be even dumber, to be honest, because they're weaker than Goro.
Like, Kintaro is really...
No, but here's the thing. You've already established that Goro is a bitch. So Kintaro is not going to be suddenly like... This is not moving from Raditz to fucking... I don't know, Majin Buu. Like, this is literally like from Raditz to slightly more powerful Raditz.
Nappa.
Yeah, it's basically Raditz to Nappa. Like, this isn't a massive change. Like, if Cole can beat Goro that easily, we don't have a movie.
Yeah, and all Cole had to do was put this weird shirt on. That's his power. He puts a weird shirt on, and then he can fight better.
I think that's going to be my biggest complaint for going, if a second movie exists, it's going to be like, you guys are going to have a hell of a road to prove that these people are suddenly more powerful again.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know, they can't do shit. Because Melina didn't even defend herself against the first blast she took. Goro apparently can't take a punch. Fucking Cabal probably put up the best fight, and that still isn't saying much.
Yeah, because he just moves fast.
Yeah, like realistically, like none of them pulled anything. Like realistically, they bring anybody else in. Like actually, Kano probably had the closest thing to a good fight.
Yeah, I loved Kano. Fuck, that was one of the best parts of that movie.
Well, like let's say they bring more people in. Let's say they bring in Ermac, they bring in fucking Noob Saibot, or they bring in fucking Quan Chi even. Like, okay, but how are they any stronger than Goro? They aren't.
Yeah.
That's just
they really
problem.
fucked up using Goro.
They've kind of put themselves in the hole here in the same way of like, if in wrestling, if somebody who is notoriously weak beats the champion clean, like you suddenly can't have that guy like going for the belt again. Like he lost to a nobody. So like now that Goro's lost to somebody who had barely any chance to learn his abilities, like you can't put Goro in the ring with anybody now and say Goro's going to win. We all know now that Goro should lose whatever fight he's in.
Maybe they should have The Rock play as Shao Kahn.
He's got the build.
It actually would be perfect.
No, he might actually...
No. Get the mountain. Get the fucking mountain.
Oh, the mountain from Game of Thrones?
Yes, get the mountain. You need size, not just Rock's like build. You need tall as fuck.
I don't disagree with you on that at all.
You need somebody who is imposing both in height and build.
The mountain is insane. Yeah, actually, he would be a perfect Shao Kahn. Also, I don't know if he's working
I
right
follow
now.
him. The shit this guy does is insane.
Yeah.
Like, you would believe that motherfucker taking a giant sledgehammer and literally pounding a guy into dust.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's not that old. He's only he's born in 88, so he's the same age as Adam.
Yeah, so you could put him in a universe for 5 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, or they just find some guy who's also like 7'5", 400 pounds that we've never heard of. That all he can do is just grunt really loudly and just yell shit, and he'll be fine too.
Boston Celtics.
You know that guy's out there. There is a guy.
There's a bunch
right
of them
now
out there.
that's just not famous.
Yeah,
he's just walking around. He's just fucking Shao Kahn. He doesn't know it.
It's just that's going to be my inevitable problem. Is just that like, where do you go from here when you've basically made like every villain aside from Shang Tsung weak as shit? Like that's just going to be the problem, right?
Yeah, that second part of that movie is horrible. Or second half, or whatever you call it.
The villains are going to win, and it's like,
but why would they win now? Why would they win?
Because you never really saw them. They didn't have their A-lister caliber.
What do you mean they didn't have their A-list? Goro!
Yeah, but there's also honestly, Kentaro and Motaro were tougher than Goro.
Yeah, but we're talking default Mortal Kombat. Goro was literally the last thing before Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
And Goro died in 5 seconds.
Shang Tsung never fought though. So that's one other thing.
That doesn't matter. So we're not saying the villains when we're saying Shang Tsung single-handedly. So like literally the movie is just going to be you can't beat Shang Tsung. You can kill everybody else, but you can't beat Shang. Okay, but then what's the point of all the other villains? Like, what's the point of booking them? There's no point. That's what they've done. They just made everybody that isn't named Shang Tsung useless. That's the problem.
Yeah, because even in the original movie, even though Goro died to a dick punch.
No, he didn't die to a dick punch. He got hurt by the dick punch, and then he got kicked off a cliff.
Yeah. But it was such
gravity killed Goro.
Yeah, gravity killed Goro. It was such a build-up with how powerful he was, and Johnny Cage just was able to outsmart him, and it was a big
That's what it was. It was brains against brawn.
Yeah.
Cole literally outfought Goro. That's not supposed to be possible.
With his stupid magic t-shirt.
Like, now I'm worried that Cole is going to beat Shang Tsung, and how the fuck are you going to do that? Like, that's the other precedent that they've set. Is that Cole took on the toughest enemy and won. Liu Kang took on Cabal. Like, no offense to Cabal, but Liu Kang fought Cabal.
Yeah.
And probably struggled a tiny bit. Cole Young took literally Shang Tsung's right-hand man and fucking killed him easy.
Yeah.
So, like...
Right-hand man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, again, I don't hate the movie. I just hate the hole they've put themselves in.
Yeah. That part from Kung Lao dying to right up until the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight at the end, that whole part needs to be rewritten and redone. And
can we get a Snyder cut of that?
Hour. Yeah, we need like an extra half an hour thrown in and all of that rewritten.
Fix the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, there's 20 minutes that needs to be turned into an hour. And
like I'm curious to know what's on the cutting room floor now. You know.
Yeah, hopefully there's more than just the montage.
And also, while I didn't hate the new theme, it wasn't the OG.
It's not great. Like it's passable, but it's not great.
I do like it. I've been listening to it a fair bit, and I get
they overused it in the fight scenes too. They kept like putting the dun dun like every time there was like a climax to the fight scenes. I'm like, guys, take it easy. Like it's cool, but take it easy.
And I listened to it. It's just like the OG was just so iconic.
Well, I'm trying not to put nostalgia into it, but I think even as a song, I don't think it carries nearly the amount of intensity either.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's more like something that Baron Zemo would dance to than an actual like Mortal Kombat fight scene.
All right, well, Chris, you know what to do. You got to re-download that YouTube video and then just put the Mortal Kombat theme on loop over that video.
I would. Yeah, they should have just saved the new theme. Like, even if they just left it as is, save it just for the credits. They threw it in a lot during the movie. It's like, okay, like, we get it. Dun, 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 dun. But you're not even going into the
like,
theme.
there is that part that makes you think is like, they're like better than most, but they're still doing the same stuff that a lot of dumb fucks did when they made game movies. Because they're like, if we just put this thing in there, you're going to like it, right? And that's the thing. Like, they did a really good job, but they also still did some of the mistakes that a lot of these directors would make in these movies.
Yeah.
They tried to put their own thing into it, which is Cole. They tried to overplay a little bit on the fan service, which most of the time isn't bad, but it stands out when the movie has a little bit of a bad run. And then they don't treat the source material quite as well as they could. So all of the things that normally happen in these movies were done here. The difference is unlike, say, a movie like, I don't know, fucking Dead or Alive or House of the Dead, at least this movie, tried to actually make a good movie for what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, they did so well until it hits a part in the movie and it just goes to shit. And they ruin so much of what they set up. And then they finish off strong.
I watched House of the Dead in theaters.
Jeez.
Yes.
I watched Dead or Alive. It was okay, but it wasn't anything special. I mean, more or
In
less.
theaters?
No, not in theater. I don't think. I don't think it even was in theaters. But I mean, look,
I saw the DVD for $5.
any excuse to see Kevin Nash fight somebody on a raft on water, and then any excuse that I could to see Jamie Presley and Devin Aoki in bikinis, I'll take any day of the week. So
Also true.
Seems legit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
but I mean, even then, like that movie was fine. Whereas like this movie was really fucking good, but you still had to fuck up so hard, didn't you? Like that's really what it is. It's the I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. I agree.
It's
I
like
concur.
you did everything that we asked you to, and you still did the Hollywood bullshit mistakes. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing.
They were like, all right, everyone watching this was probably born in the 80s. What do
They
people in the
did
80s
exactly
love?
what we thought
Montage.
Sonic was going to be. It was going to be fun, but make a bunch of stupid mistakes.
If you took Cole out of the movie completely,
If you took Cole out and just like focused on their journey, I think it helps, but you still have to take away the montage. Like you had to change
Yeah.
the concept of how they were rushing the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that 20 minutes needs if Cole was still in it, but they fixed that 20 minutes, kept good writing, kept good story, and expanded it more than 20 minutes. This could have been a fucking amazing movie, even with Cole in it.
Did you hear anything of what I said when you went on break, Vish, on what I said they probably should have done with that moment? Okay,
no.
to sum it up,
That statement.
I know. To sum it up, basically what I would do is that you don't have Kung Lao kill when he's killed. This is how I completely do it. So Natara dies, and the villains back off because they're like, oh fuck, they're actually a little more prepared than we thought. Then when the guys are training and it's time to go to the tournament, they catch them just before they are about to leave. Fight ensues. You go ham for 20-25 minutes of everybody fighting each other because you have time to separate them all. Maybe even you add the portal stuff, like I don't know, like Raiden tries like there's a clear advantage, so Raiden tries to separate some of them to try to help them out. Maybe you get Raikou dying because Raiku's fucking pointless and didn't need to be there, so cool, his life is meaningless.
Yeah.
And everybody else, it's pretty much an even fight at that point as they start to really understand their own power. And that includes even Cole. Like, Cole just survives Goro, because if you're going to have Goro in there now fighting him, fine. But they all just kind of survive. And then it gets to the point that the Elder Gods, like, you don't have to show any of them. You just see, like, the light from the sky being like, what's going on? And they all back the fuck off. Except at the end, when Shang Tsung's about to leave, that's when he pulls Kung Lao and kills him on the spot. And that's how he ends and be like, see you at the tournament. And then backs off. And then they're all mourning. And then all of a sudden you hear a message from Cole's family, being that he's here because Sub-Zero is too prideful as a Lin Kuei soldier to let this go. He doesn't retreat. He goes to take it out because he knows Cole has Scorpion's DNA in him. And that's where you get the final scene where Scorpion makes his appearance. So that's how you transition. So that way, no one's dead.
You end the movie on the teaser?
No. You end the movie on the same thing. Like, you end with the Johnny Cage stuff and everything. Like, but the tournament we now know is about to happen. So only Raiku's dead. At least Sonya, Liu Kang, and Cole, they've all, like, held their ground. Like, they're not clear-cut winning, but they've at least held their ground. Everybody else has backed off to lick their wounds for another day. So you have all this building up, and now the tournament's going to come where there has to be a winner. There has to be a finish.
Yeah.
Instead of literally half the cast being dead at the end of the movie.
Yeah. And instead of fucking Goro showing up at the farm where Cole's family is, it's Sub-Zero.
Well, Goro could still show up, but like Raiden intervenes, kind of puts them all together, and then kind of separates them a little bit. Cole like survives, like he does enough dodging and whatever else to just kind of keep himself alive. Because again, somebody who just got his power should not suddenly win. He's not a Super Saiyan.
Prince Goro.
So the idea is that you reduce the villains looking weak, and you now set up the next movie by saying, okay, next time we see you, it's going to be for a finish. You could even have Shang Tsung being like, the next time we meet, we will finish you and leave.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it. And it's going to be a hell of a lot less harmful than what they did in that 20-minute period.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have preferred if you wrote that part. As long as I still get my Scorpion and fight at the end, or at some point in
Yes,
there.
that was
I
the
wouldn't
most
dare take
important,
that
'cause
away.
Yeah,
If I'm
leave
writing that
that was
movie,
the
I'm not
one
taking
thing
that scene
was
out.
Missing. That was the only thing that was missing from the OG movie. Scorpion and Sub-Zero were like side characters and they were not really there.
Well, and we
Yeah.
got to give them the pass on that because this is when Hollywood couldn't give a shit. That's why Mortal Kombat is such a legendary movie, because it in complete defiance of what those movies normally end up being, it still managed to be super fucking good.
Yeah. Fuck, I love that movie. I'm gonna watch it again.
So, any last thoughts before we go off the air?
I can't wait for Mortal Kombat 2.
I can,
Which will be Mortal Kombat 1.
I can. I just hope they don't fuck it up as badly.
And I'm curious to see where Sam is going to take place as Cap in the MCU.
Yeah, we'll see how that all goes. It's like
Yeah,
the
I'm
massive
excited for that.
string of series and movies are about to come.
And I hope Bucky's around for a little longer, because
I think he said he was
was
signed for
fucking
at least like
great.
another 2 or 3, didn't he?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I think
No,
he
I'm
said. I
not
think he
sure,
said
but
like
I
after
hope-
Endgame, he was still signed for like 2-3 more films.
Nice.
Because he, frankly, I always liked Bucky. I wasn't a big fan of him in Civil War, but it's like after Civil War, it's like, oh, this guy, it has a lot of depth to him, and the way when he got freed from the Winter Soldier like code, that was actually like heartbreaking and liberating at the same time to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Any
that's
Any last thoughts from you,
those are my
Chris?
final thoughts. And I'm Jerry Springer.
Apart from drinking.
I'm just drinking. That's Mortal Kombat made me drink
Cool.
in a good and bad way. It's weird. It's
That-
celebratory and depressing at the same
It's
time.
true. So yeah, that was actually a 2-hour show of just literally 2 topics. That ended up being quite the thing. Although, who knew that if we have stuff to gush about,
Technically
we'll actually
4
gush.
topics, because
It was 2 topics.
was 2 topics.
It was 2 topics with us
And 2
withholding
different
information.
methods.
Yeah, there was the tangents.
It was 2
For
topics
sure.
with secrets. That's what it was.
Yes.
So yeah, this has been the VCR Podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. Ignore the one thing in the top right corner you see on your screen. The audio does not exist anymore. I forgot to take that off in the thing. I will be sure to do that. But
God
otherwise,
damn it, Adam.
thank you so much for checking us out. So if you're watching either on Twitch or the VOD on YouTube, obviously subscribe or follow, like the fucking video, comment below on how stupid we are, because I mean we always are. We know, right? Yeah. We know. Especially Chris, he knows how stupid he is.
Oh yeah, holy shit.
I was waiting for the what did I do?
What did I do? No, I played Madden. I deserve it.
That's true. That is true. You're the one person on the show that did it. You are the dumbest of the bunch. That's
and
canon.
I didn't just try it; like I finished it.
Yeah,
like
it's canon now. You're officially
It's
the worst.
It's canon.
Yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Next week, hopefully there's some more news to talk about, because at least now we won't have any crazy like feature things that we have to go nuts about, because that was a hell of a weekend for me, watching basically 8 hours of content. So
Yeah, you were getting caught up. Holy shit.
now I just have to watch The Expanse season 5.
Yeah,
and then I'm officially caught up on like all my live action stuff. So now I can finally get my Crunchyroll account back, so I can start just breezing through 20-minute episodes of anime, just being like, wee.
Yeah, you got to finish The Expanse. I finished it a week and a half ago.
I'm probably gonna start I'll probably, because they're longer episodes. I'll probably end up doing like for every Sunday I'll probably do like 3 or 4 episodes depending on how long I get.
Yeah,
So.
I think they're the like 45 minutes to 55
Are you not going to
minutes.
zoom through it?
No, I need an entire day to do it, and the only day that I have available is Saturday, and that's with my girlfriend, and she's only watched up to season 1, so that's a bad idea.
Yeah, she's
Like,
don't just throw it
what's
in there.
going on?
I'll call in sick to my girlfriend on Saturday. How's that?
I can't unless she's watching right now. Hi, Lisa.
Dang it.
So yeah, that's been the VCR Podcast episode 73. We will see you on 74 when we'll probably talk about more than just 2 things. We'll still have a million tangents, but we'll probably be more than 2 things this time.
We will talk for 2 hours
1
about the
million
ratchet and
tangents.
Oh
we'll
god,
talk for 2.
that needs to be a Vish t-shirt. Just him doing this and 1
Yeah,
million
well-
tangents.
That's such a t-shirt. Yeah, we'll talk next week for 2 hours about the Ratchet and Clank State of Play tomorrow. That's what we'll
Yeah,
do.
there is a state of play tomorrow, so there is that. So Oh, I guess I'll finish by saying this. Anybody who is going to watch the State of Play tomorrow, don't expect all the shit. E3 is in a month. Stop.
It's going to be Ratchet and Clank and like 2 indie games, which you
literally,
already
I'm
know
going to
about
watch the stream, and as soon as it's done, people are going to be like, that's it? They're every State of Play. It's been like this. Stop assuming differently. I can't wait to see the same reactions.
PlayStation?
Like, literally, gamers are like the definition of insanity. They keep watching the State of Play expecting something different to happen.
Yeah.
Nope.
But anyways, yeah. Thank you so much for checking us out on this show, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, afternoon. I don't know, wherever the fuck it is where you are. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Night, everybody.
Cheers.